Chapter 446. Hearing his words, the linen-robed man said, "Sword artists have the sharpest perception. If it didn't work the first time, I'm afraid it won't work in the future. But, you don't have to target him. Your poison isn't just for killing." "You mean that woman?" The ghost warrior guessed the meaning of the linen-robed man's words. The linen-robed man didn't reply. "Hihi, you're right. There's no need to target that kid. As long as I can poison his friend, he'll have no choice but to come and beg me." The ghost warrior closed his eyes and attached his soul power to the heartless poison chi, urging it to float toward the windrain building for the second time. The poison chi was formless and colorless, and its density was even lower than air. Moreover, the way it floated was very strange, as if it was using the air as a channel. Without carefully scanning with soul power, one wouldn't be able to discover the deadly poison chi in the air. The heartless poison chi appeared in Murong Qingqing's bedroom and enveloped her. Murong Qingqing's closed eyes suddenly opened, and a black light flickered in her pupils. She discovered a wisp of purple in the air, one that couldn't be seen by the naked eye. God knows how she saw it, but it was something that even Yi Chen couldn't see. Reaching out her right hand, Murong Qingqing shrunk in the air. The next moment, the heartless poison chi curled up involuntarily and was enveloped by an invisible force field. Because of the increase in density, the poison chi's color had become very rich. "Poison chi. Someone wants to ambush me." The Zhun Yuan in the sky demon force field was corroded. Murong Qingqing's brows creased, and her deep gaze traced the source of the poison chi, trying to find the culprit. However, just as her gaze reached the outside of the windrain building, the ribbon-like poison chi dissipated. Pop! Pop! Several people nearby fell down without anyone noticing, immediately poisoned to death. Soon after, the residents in the surrounding buildings also fell down. By the time someone noticed, within a radius of several thousand meters, apart from the powerful clasping yuan and astral reaching experts, not even a chicken or a dog was spared. It should be known that this was only a wisp of poison chi, but it was diluted by poison element Zhen Yuan. After spreading out, it could still kill the majority of people within a radius of several thousand meters. Its toxicity was simply unimaginable, more poisonous than any poison on the market. "We've been discovered again." 5 Poison Ghost General's face was burning. The first time he attacked Yi Chen, he had failed. The second time he attacked Murong Qingqing, he had also failed. This could no longer be described as embarrassment, but shame. Damn it. He was a Sea of Soul Realm expert proficient in poison arts, yet he had been defeated by 2 astral reaching experts. Even without the Ghost General 5 Poisons reminder, the man in linen had already sensed that many people had died nearby. The deaths meant that the Ghost General 5 Poison had lost control of the poisonous gas or dispersed it automatically. Therefore, the possibility of success was negligible. After all, if he succeeded, there was no need for the Ghost General 5 Poison to kill so many people and bring trouble upon himself. "We can't stay here for long. Let's leave first," the linen-clothed man said calmly. The 2 of them hurriedly left the courtyard and disappeared from the area. Creak. The door to Murong Qingqing's room was pushed open, and Yi Chen walked in and said, "Someone seems to be targeting me. Are you all right?" After being attacked by the poisonous gas, Yi Chen released his soul power, radiating in all directions. However, before he could find the attacker, something happened to Murong Qingqing, and the people nearby also started dying one after another. "This poison is very powerful." Murong Qingqing raised her right hand in the void, and a twisting force field appeared. The purple poisonous gas squirmed like purple liquid, condensing into a sphere. Yi Chen sized up the poisonous gas and said, "The attacker should be an expert proficient in poison arts. Moreover, the poisonous gas contains soul power, which is hard to detect." "Sea of Soul Realm expert." Murong Qingqing's brows creased. Only Sea of Soul Realm experts could use soul power. Yi Chen faintly nodded. The attacker was certainly a Sea of Soul Realm expert. "Why would they want to attack us?" "I don't have any clues, but I can think of one person. The head of the 108 Ghost Generals of 9 Ghost Cult, the 5 Poison Ghost General. It's said that the poison he releases is enough to kill thousands of people." Of course, I'm only thinking of him, but I don't have any proof yet. The southern sector is boundless, and he is not the only one proficient in poison arts. Perhaps there is someone else. Yi Chen didn't remember directly offending any poison arts expert, so he thought of the 5 poison ghost general of 9 ghost cult. Since Murong Qingcheng was fine, Yi Chen bid farewell and returned to his room. The night passed without any words. The next day, the 4 set out together, heading north. The sky was clear, and white clouds could be seen everywhere. Below them was a vast plain, and on the plain stood a few steep peaks. Swish! A huge black shadow flashed past the left side of the mountain. Then, 2 more black shadows shot out from the other side. The mountain shook a couple of times. First, the left side of the mountain that was grazed instantly shattered into a semicircle, as if it had been bitten. Then, 2 semicircles appeared on the right side as well, making the whole mountain look like a broken apple that had been bitten a couple of times. In the whole southern sector, perhaps only our beast-controlling martial school can travel this easily. A voice came from one of the black shadows chasing them. The speaker was a teenager in brown robes. He had thick eyebrows and tiger-like eyes, and his bones were thick and bulky. The black shadow under him was a huge black eagle, which was more than 10 meters long, and its wingspan was almost 20 meters. It was indeed a top-rank 8 demonic beast, the Black Wind Eagle. The Black Wind Eagle's battling power was not bad, but its most precious part was its speed, which could reach 7 times the speed of sound in a split second. On a black wind condor next to him, a beautiful woman chuckled and said, "Second brother, you've been very happy since yesterday. Are you going to meet your dream lover?" The brown-robed teenager blushed. "Don't make fun of me. I like her, but she might not like me. It would be great if I had the strength of head brother." On the back of the black wind condor, a handsome young man in cyan clothes stood with his hands behind his back. Although the gale was blocked out by Jin Yuan, there was still a trace of air current that managed to seep in, making his long black hair dance in the air, making him look carefree and unrestrained. Hearing the voice of the brown-robed young man using Jin Yuan, he curled his lips and said in a domineering tone, "Second junior brother, if I were you, I would confess to her directly. It's better for men to be a bit more domineering. Unfortunately, apart from the Thunder Princess, no one has caught my eye yet. Otherwise, I would have said goodbye to being single long ago." The beautiful lady covered her mouth and laughed. "Look, even head brother is supporting you." Scratching his head, the brown-robed teenager's face became even redder. Shoo, shoo, shoo. The 3 rode the Black Wind Eagle and flew straight ahead, leaving a black trail behind them. The speed of the Black Wind Condor was very fast, overtaking one person after another. When it overtook the 4 people who were lined up side by side, the handsome young man subconsciously glanced at it. With this glance, he could no longer look away. Even when the Black Wind Condor overtook the 4 people, he was busy looking back and intentionally slowed down the Black Wind Condor's speed. In his sight, the 4 people were 2 men and 2 women. The young man on the left looked ordinary, and his aura was also ordinary. There was nothing special about him. The young man on the right was a beautiful lady with a wonderful figure. No matter where she went, she would be a beauty. However, the handsome teenager had seen many beauties of this level, so he did not pay much attention to her. The one worth his attention was the young man in blue. He had a long sword on his waist, and his face was delicate and handsome. Although his eyes were very gentle, the handsome teenager could feel a sharp will in them. If the young man in blue made him take a few more glances, then the lady in purple next to him made him unable to take his eyes off her. There was actually a beauty that could compete with the Thunder Princess in this world. Be it appearance or temperament, they were all at the level of devastation. Even though the handsome teenager was used to seeing beauties in the world, he still could not help but feel his heart beat faster. Swoosh! The Black Wind Condor drew an arc in the air and blocked the 4 of them. "Eldest senior brother, what's wrong?" The beautiful lady and the young man in brown were puzzled, so they turned around as well. Seeing that someone was blocking their way, the 4 of them immediately stopped. It was Yi Chen and the other 3. "The 4 of you, I am Mo Xiong of the Imperial Beast School." The handsome teenager jumped off the Black Wind Condor and cupped his fists. Yi Chen asked, "What's the matter?" Mo Xiong smiled. It's fate that we met. I'm guessing that you guys are going to the Thunder City, and we are going there as well. Why don't we travel together? There are too many things that happen to us. It might not be fate. Yi Chen said lightly. He. Mo Xiong did not care. He looked at Murong Qingcheng and said, I wonder what your name is. I hope you can tell me. Murong Qingcheng was slightly stunned, then said, since you care so much about fate, then let's see what it is. How could Jiu Yuyun not see that Mo Xiong had been charmed by Murong Qingcheng? She found it funny. You are right, lady. But I still believe that we are fated. See you in the Thunder City. Mo Xiong was not angry at being rejected. He knew that he had to know when to advance and when to retreat. If the first impression was bad, he would have to spend more effort to make up for it. Jumping on the black-winged condor, Mo Xiong turned around. The Thunder City is not as peaceful as you think. If you have any trouble, just tell me my name. See you. Shoo. After that, he left on the black-winged condor without looking back. The confused beautiful lady and the young man in brown smiled bitterly and chased after him on the black-winged condor. After the three of them left, Jiu Yuyun said, Prince Imperial Beast Mo Xiong, the eldest disciple of the 5th rank school, the Imperial Beast School. He is a genius second only to the Thunder Princess in the Thunder region. His strength is probably in the top 10 of the young generation in the southern sector. I didn't expect to meet him here. Prince Imperial Beast Mo Xiong. Yi Chen took back his sight. He could feel that the latter was very powerful, and his aura was very pure. From this, he could tell that the latter's Jinyuan purity had also reached a very high level. In Yi Chen's eyes, he was the strongest young man besides Murong Qingcheng. Let's go. The Thunder City was full of young experts, and the group had already prepared themselves mentally. If a Prince Imperial Beast Mo Xiong could already shock them, then wouldn't they be shocked to death in the Thunder City? Mo Xiong's incident was soon forgotten as a small interlude, and they rushed towards the Thunder City. Chapter 447. The closer they got to Thunder City, the more young geniuses the four saw. Among them, there was no lack of top-ranked geniuses. Each and every one of these geniuses had a unique temperament. Some had dignified appearances, some had elegant faces, some were handsome, and some were incomparably beautiful. All of them were dragons and phoenixes among men, dominating their respective territories. Of course, in Thunder City, even a dragon would have to coil up, and even a tiger would have to crouch down. Everyone knew that Thunder City was not like other places. It was a place where crouching tigers and hidden dragons gathered. Apart from the Thunder Princess and a few others, no one dared to be arrogant. Even if there were people who dared to be arrogant, they were already in the past. Thunder City, I want to see what kind of geniuses there are. This time, I must amaze the world with a single brilliant feat in my opinion. Those famous geniuses are not necessarily stronger than me. Along the way, Yi Chen and the other three heard such voices more than once. While laughing inwardly, they also began to feel the competitive atmosphere. Thunder City was the capital of Thunder Empire, as well as the #1 city of Southern Sector and one of the top 10 cities of True Spirit Continent. It was known as the Thunder Palace in the sky and the Thunder Capital on the ground. The vastness of Thunder City was hard to describe with words. Standing dozens of li away, Yi Chen and the other three could only see a black line stretching for an unknown length. This black line was the city wall of Thunder City. Inside the city wall, the silhouettes of buildings rose and fell one after another. Even before approaching, an ancient and majestic aura assaulted their faces, making it hard for them to breathe. Yi Chen remembered that when he first entered Martial City, he was also shocked. However, comparing Martial City to Thunder City was like comparing a small cottage to a luxurious mansion. Be it scale, silhouette, or grandeur, they were not on the same level. It was hard to imagine how many years this city had taken to build. This was an ancient city that had stood for several tens of thousands of years. It was the #1 city of Southern Sector, and also one of the top 10 cities of True Spirit Continent. As they approached, the silhouette of Thunder City became more and more distinct. The majestic ancient aura seemed to cause the air to stagnate. Seeing this ancient and huge city, every newcomer couldn't help but quiet down, fearing that their actions would attract some unknown attention. Thunder City. 2 ancient characters were engraved on the city wall. The character Thunder was like a bolt of lightning, incomparably tyrannical, while the character Capital gave people a sense of security. What a great Thunder City! Under the city gate, Yi Chen raised his head and said softly. Upon entering the Thunder City, the aura of the ancient city underwent a slight change. Amidst the ancient and boundless aura, one could feel a resplendent and flourishing aura that hadn't changed for thousands of years. It was as though even the passage of time wouldn't cause it to lose its color. Even now, it was still the most flourishing city in the Thunder City. On the street that was as wide as a square, there was an endless stream of horses and carriages, and the hubbub of people. As far as the eye could see, a dense mass of people covered every inch of the street. The towering shops and restaurants on both sides of the street were like the dam of the river, encircling the torrent of people inside. Almost every 10 people, there was a young man. Every 10 young men, there was a genius. Every 10 geniuses, there was an outstanding talent. Perhaps it was because of the abundant dragon fountain chi, but Yi Chen seemed to be able to hear countless dragon roars. Of course, these faintly discernible dragon roars weren't the real deal. If one had to describe them, they were mostly roars of beasts, which could only be counted as the roars of flood dragons. In the sky above the Thunder City, the air currents were surging, and the clouds were constantly changing. Looking carefully, one could make out many dragon-shaped air currents. Finally, the biennial martial tea gathering has arrived. I, Huang Yuan, will definitely shine. At the very least, I will let others know my name. Some of the young men who had just walked out of their homes felt their blood boiling, their eyes shining brightly. This time, the number of young talents participating in the martial tea gathering is the highest. If you want people to remember your name, you won't be able to do it without 1 or 2 unique skills. Brother Huang, you better be mentally prepared, in case the gap is too big and you can't handle the pressure. A young man who had some experience reminded him. There were countless restaurants in the Thunder City. At the first crossroad, there was a luxurious restaurant. Yi Chen and the other 3 walked in. Innkeeper, give us 4 guest rooms. The manager glanced at the 4 and said with an apologetic expression, I'm sorry, our restaurant is full. To be exact, it was full 3 days ago. The 4 were helpless and could only choose another restaurant. The result was the same as before. All the restaurants that looked more luxurious were full, and the slightly inferior ones couldn't even find a single empty room. At this time, Jiyu Yuyun said to Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng, the martial tea gathering is around the corner, and there must be a lot of people in the Thunder City. With the 4 of us together, it will be hard to find a restaurant with 4 empty rooms. Why don't we split up? That way, the success rate will be increased by half. Yi Chen nodded. She was right. It would be easier for 2 people to find a restaurant. Moreover, he and Jiyu Yuyun weren't that close, so it was time for them to split up. Finally, in a relatively remote area of Thunder City, the 2 of them finally found a medium-sized restaurant. There were still 3 empty rooms in the restaurant. Normally, a restaurant like this would have 30% of its customers. But today, the entire restaurant was filled with people, and the atmosphere was extremely lively. 2 guests, this way please. The waiter walked in front of them. On the 3rd floor, Yi Chen chose a room near the outside, while Murong Qingcheng's room was in the corridor. The room was spacious and clean. It had a bedroom, a living room, and a bathroom. The floor was covered with a thick carpet, and the color was elegant. After staying in the room for a while, the sky gradually darkened. Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng went downstairs and arrived at the lobby of the 2nd floor. The lobby of the 2nd floor was quite lively, and most of them were young men and women. Did you guys hear? A powerful genius appeared in the floating light region where the Edict Prince is from. He condensed a true martial soul at such a young age and defeated the former number 2 genius of the Gold Sand region. His fame is only below that of the Edict Prince. Yesterday, he even defeated dozens of young geniuses in the Western martial arena without a single loss. The number 2 genius of the floating light region is called Wan Zhuoming, right? Wan Zhuoming's strength is not to be underestimated. This person actually defeated him. This martial tea gathering is getting more and more interesting. Isn't that so? In recent years, powerful geniuses have appeared one after another, suppressing the old top geniuses. Who knows, a true dragon-grade genius who can threaten the Edict Prince and the Thunder Princess might appear. The possibility is very small. Other geniuses might be able to surpass them, but the Edict Prince and the other true dragon-grade geniuses have already reached the peak. Astral reaching realm is impossible to threaten them. The martial tea gathering hasn't started yet. How do you know it's impossible? Hehe, if there is such a genius, I'll eat this table. I don't believe it. I'll save this table for you. Fine, but what if there isn't one? Then I'll eat this table as well. Hearing the two's conversation, the surrounding people were quite interested. However, the majority of them supported the latter. After all, true dragon-grade geniuses were not cabbages that could be found anywhere. The young genius who was about to save the table sneered and inwardly thought, if there isn't a high possibility, why would I say it? My master is an astrology master. He came here 3 days ago and said that the sky above Thunder City was in chaos. Apart from the 3 true dragons that had already matured, there were also many false dragons. More importantly, there wasn't a single true dragon in the southern region. This was something that would never happen during the gathering of geniuses in the past. Therefore, the situation of 3 dragons contending for hegemony couldn't possibly exist this time. The southern region would be dominated by an even more powerful true dragon. He was quite clear that the true dragon and false dragon mentioned by his master was a kind of invisible and intangible phenomenon. Only people proficient in geomancy and astrology could sense them. Of course, life and death kings could also see them. Moreover, life and death kings could even influence the geomancy and astrology. Little guy, just wait to eat the table. But I should go somewhere else. How can a table be enough for one person? At least a bit more. With mischievous thoughts in his mind, the young man quietly left the restaurant. Watching the young man leave, Yi Chen chuckled, then found an empty table with Murong Qingcheng and sat down. In another restaurant not far from this one, if I didn't come out, I wouldn't have known. Only after coming out did I realize that there are so many geniuses in the world. We're no different from frogs at the bottom of a well. Li Daoxian drank a mouthful of wine and sighed emotionally. Yang Qihua said, "What? Are you scared?" Li Daoxian shook his head, not scared, but excited. That's more like you. The relationship between Yang Qihua and Li Daoxian was very strange. They were friends, but also rivals. Before Yi Chen appeared, they had been fighting openly and secretly for the first place of the hidden dragon list. Even after Yi Chen appeared, their relationship didn't change. Putting down the wine cup, Li Daoxian looked out of the window and said, "I wonder where they are." He was talking about Xikong Sheng and Yi Chen. In the whole South Rudra region, only these two were relatively powerful. One had the bloodline of a king warrior and was born with the appearance of a king warrior, while the other had suddenly risen up and changed the current situation. Nothing could stop his rise. Xikong Sheng will definitely appear. As for Yi Chen, I don't know about it. Yang Qihua knew Xikong Sheng very well. He was younger than him, but had a bigger goal than him. He did not believe that he would slowly sink after losing to Yi Chen. The setback would only make him stronger, and it would be easier for him to reach the peak. If Yi Chen did not appear, Yang Qihua would actually think that his road to become a life and death realm warrior would be bumpy. After all, there had never been a martial genius who could become a life and death realm warrior so easily. As for Yi Chen, Yang Qihua really could not see through him. He was like the clouds in the sky, gathering and dispersing randomly. He was also like the wind, shapeless and formless, giving him a strange and horrifying feeling. During that hidden dragon rank competition, it was the first time that he had lost his composure and wanted to beat Yi Chen so badly. But now, it seemed that he had subconsciously thought that if he did not surpass Yi Chen as soon as possible, he would not have another chance. Yeah, I think so too. But I still believe that he will come, whether it is intentional or not. Li Daoxian took a sip of wine. A sword artist's intuition? Yang Qihua felt that Li Daoxian was getting more and more mysterious. Li Daoxian shook his head. To say that intuition was not accurate, it should be stubbornness. The two of them sitting in the lobby were way too eye-catching. One was a blade artist, and the other was a sword artist. The shapeless blade chi and sword chi interweaved together, creating invisible sparks, which made the people around them not want to get close. They would look over from time to time, trying to guess which region these two geniuses were from. In the middle of the lobby, Yi Chen smiled. What a coincidence. There is someone I know nearby. He did not push his soul power, but he could still sense the clashing of Yang Qihua and Li Daoxuan's qi. When blade and sword met, it was always a battle. It was not about the individual, but the natural resistance between blade and sword. Neither of them wanted to be suppressed. Murong Qingcheng frowned. She could not sense anything. Yi Chen's qi was way too sensitive. There were so many qi coming from all directions, and they were all mixed together. It was a complete mess. It was unbelievably hard to tell if it was someone she knew or not. Chapter 448. Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng arrived at Thunder City neither too early nor too late. After a day of rest, the tea gathering officially began on the third morning. The morning in Thunder City was different from the outside world. The thin mist had a hint of blue in it. This wasn't because there was something wrong with the mist, but with the buildings of Thunder City. The buildings of Thunder City weren't made of ordinary materials, but a special kind of thunderstone. The thunderstone had the effect of disintegrating thunder and lightning. After a long time, the thunderstone would reflect a faint blue light. This blue light was normally invisible to the naked eye. Only when it was foggy or the sky was dark would it reflect the mist, giving it a hint of color. The thin mist did not affect the enthusiasm of the crowd. The sky had just brightened, but the entire Thunder City seemed to have revived, bursting with an astonishing vitality. The degree of excitement was simply shocking. Raising one's head, even the slowest person could see the changing winds and surging air currents in the sky. The biennial tea gathering was the time for the young generation to prove themselves. Being a king in one's own territory was nothing, but being able to do so on the stage of the southern sector was something to be proud of. A lot of people had put in a lot of effort and blood for this tea gathering, waiting for their fame to spread across the entire southern sector. Now, the tea gathering was finally about to begin. Apart from a few people, everyone was very excited and nervous. They could no longer restrain their battle intent, which soared into the sky. Countless battle intents interweaved in the sky above Thunder City, giving people the illusion that a group of dragons were dancing and the sky was changing color. The fiery atmosphere didn't affect Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng at all. The two went downstairs and ate breakfast and drank tea together, as if it wasn't a martial tea gathering, but an ordinary afternoon tea. Sitting by the window, Yi Chen raised his head. In his line of sight, the sky didn't change at all. It was still the same scene of surging winds and scudding clouds. However, by relying on the dragon vein qi within his body, he could sense the other 3 true dragon qi. Adding himself, there were 4 true dragon qi in total. These 3 true dragon qi should represent Thunder Princess, Edict Princess, and Astral Spirit Son. 4 true dragons, 7 to 8 fake dragons with the appearance of true dragons, dozens of flood dragons, and hundreds of serpents that have the chance to transform into flood dragons. The entire Thunder City could be said to be a dance of dragons. In a nearby restaurant, it was rare for Yang Qihua to say something to encourage Li Daoxian, which was also to encourage himself. Work hard, don't lose the face of our South Rudra region. You too. Yes, let's work hard together. Taking a deep breath, the two of them walked out of the restaurant together. The moment they walked out of the restaurant, they knew that they would not only fight for themselves, but also for the whole South Rudra region. Although the invisible pressure was suffocating them, it was not enough to make them feel scared. No matter how many geniuses there were, they only believed that the more they fought, the more powerful they would become. There had never been a time when they desired a battle so much. Outside the south gate of Thunder City, a young man walked out of the mist. Thunder City, I, Tuor Buku, am coming. The bulky young man was indeed the mysterious Tuor Buku. Being a playful and combative person, his journey had been delayed once again. This time, there was no expert to carry him, so he could only rush through the night and run with all his might. Fortunately, things were different now. His speed had helped him a lot, allowing him to reach the Thunder City at the last moment, right before the tea gathering was about to begin. He spread his arms wide, and his powerful aura and dragon fountain chi even affected the situation in the sky above Thunder City. Originally, it was 4 dragons contending for supremacy, and now, it was still 4 dragons contending for supremacy. However, among the 4 dragons, there was an extremely powerful fake dragon. This fake dragon only lacked sharp claws and teeth, which was much stronger than the other fake dragons. Another expert has arrived. Outside the restaurant, a handsome young man wearing a 7-star robe raised his head and said softly. Beside him stood an enchanting figure. It was an incomparably beautiful young woman. Standing next to the young man, not only did she not lose her splendor, she even gave off the feeling that they were a match made in heaven. Head disciple, is there any expert worthy of your attention? There was still a group of people behind the two, and one of them asked. The handsome young man shook his head. Although it is not a real dragon, it cannot be underestimated. A fake dragon can become a real dragon at any time. Head disciple is right. Everyone admired the handsome young man. The head disciple they spoke of was none other than the Edict Prince, one of the 5 great geniuses of Southern Sector. In terms of strength, he seemed to be the number 1 of the young generation of Southern Sector. Of course, there were also people who said that the Thunder Princess was the number 1 of Southern Sector, and there were also people who said that the Astral Spirit Sun was the number 1. Regardless, as one of the leading figures of Southern Sector, not only did the Edict Prince not have the slightest bit of arrogance, he was also extremely humble. Yushin, let's go. The Edict Prince said to the beautiful woman. The beautiful woman nodded. Just as he took a step forward, Edict Prince's expression became somewhat startled. He raised his head once more. In the sky, the 4 true dragon chiefs were clearly separated, and beside them were 9 false dragon chiefs. But now, an extremely lofty false dragon had appeared out of nowhere. In a short period of time, 2 fake dragons had appeared. 4th night, you seem a bit excited. Outside the west gate of Thunder City, 3 figures were standing there. The young man with godlike eyes said indifferently, "It's nothing. Let's go in." The figure on the left curled his lips and said, "Even if you don't say it, we know that you have a huge grudge with that Yi Chen. This time, he will most likely appear in the tea gathering. And after 2 years of training by the Tower Master, you are no longer the same as before. You talk too much. You talk too much. He isn't that simple. Alright, I won't say it. But, I really hope that he can participate in the tea gathering. The 6th night, and I would like to see if he is as powerful as you say. Perhaps, he has already lost his brilliance in the past few years and has become a fallen meteor. That won't happen." The leading young man did not say anything else and walked into the city gate. "Alright, time to go to Mionshio Garden." Yi Chen stood up and suddenly said, "You don't need to suppress your aura. The sky doesn't need another fake dragon like you." Murong Qingcheng shook her head. "A fake dragon will always be a fake dragon. Plus, I'm different from you guys." "Oh." Yi Chen glanced at Murong Qingcheng. In her eyes, he was very mysterious, but in his eyes, how could she not be mysterious? He had a premonition that Murong Qingcheng was not that simple. Even without demonic will, even without any improvement, she was not a simple character. She just didn't like to expose herself. Perhaps, there was a reason. The moment Yi Chen walked out of the restaurant, the sun had just risen. The first ray of sunlight sprinkled on his body, making him seem as if he was not a person of the mortal world. The shopkeeper and the waiters of the restaurant were dumbfounded. Even after Yi Chen left their line of sight, they still hadn't recovered. Mionshio Garden, the first garden of Thunder City, occupying an area of 800 hectares, its scale was enormous, not inferior to a small city. The venue of the tea gathering was here. Outside the garden, a group of astral reaching experts were guarding. On the left and right side of the entrance, there were 2 pillars used to test offensive power. There were 10 rows of crystals on the pillars, 10 in each row. Below the crystals was a thin crystal plate. One needed to be qualified to enter Mionshio Garden. This qualification didn't depend on fame, but on strength. It was difficult to determine one's strength in a short time using conventional methods. However, the pillars were much easier. After all, although strength wasn't directly related to offensive power, if one's offensive power wasn't strong, then one's strength wouldn't be that great. A truly powerful person couldn't be weak in any aspect. What level must one reach to be qualified to enter? A youngster asked. An astral reaching expert guarding the entrance said, 78 and above, including 78. Hiss. Hearing these words, the youngster at the back of the line sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of joke was this? 78 and above. The last tea gathering wasn't this harsh. It wasn't like they hadn't seen the pillars before. The crystals on the pillars were used to display data. The first and second rows corresponded to the offensive power of mortal realm martial artists, the third and fourth rows corresponded to condensing reality realm, the fifth and sixth rows corresponded to clasping yuan realm, the seventh and eighth rows corresponded to astral reaching realm, and the ninth and 10th rows corresponded to sea of soul realm. Each row had 10 crystals. In order to reach 78, one would have to light up 7 rows of crystals, and the 8th row would also have to light up 8. The remaining 2 would be the full value of astral reaching realm. The astral reaching expert guarding the side sneered, "If you can't reach 78, I advise you to go back. This is the tea gathering, the highest palace of the southern sector's geniuses. It's not a place ordinary people can enter. Even if you enter, you'll only lose face. Why bother? Let me try." The youngster who first asked clenched his teeth and operated his Jin Yuan to the limit. He then used his strongest martial skill and slapped his palm on the pillar's crystal plate. Peng! The pillar didn't move at all, but the crystals on it quickly lit up. 1 row, 2 rows, 7 rows, 1 crystal, 2 crystals, 6 crystals. By the 6th crystal of the 8th row, the crystals couldn't light up anymore. Damn, let me try again. The youngster bit his mouth until it bled. He had come to the Thunder City with great difficulty. If he couldn't participate in the tea gathering, not to mention his own discomfort, he would be ridiculed when he returned. Now that success or failure depended on this, he didn't believe that he couldn't reach 78. There were 3 chances to test the offensive power, and the astral reaching expert guarding the side didn't stop him. Peng! The crystals lit up again, and this time, it was a bit faster than before. By the time it reached the 7th crystal of the 8th row, there was still a bit of power left, and it rushed to the 8th crystal. Although the 8th crystal quickly dimmed, it had indeed lit up. The youngster looked at the guard expectantly. The guard glanced at him, seeming to not be able to bear it, and said, "Pass." Roar. The young man waved his arms towards the sky. The excitement in his heart could not be expressed with words. Perhaps he was just a guest, not even a supporting character. However, participating in the martial tea gathering was an honor in itself, something that no one could ever erase. Next, the participants stepped forward one after another. The threshold of 78 was too high. Many people tried their best, and even performed exceptionally well, but still couldn't pass. Meanwhile, some people easily reached 79 or 80. Those who failed were dejected, secretly wiping away their tears. Those who succeeded were either incomparably excited, or indifferent. All sorts of emotions were flowing in this place. Chapter 449. Bang! The crystals on the pillar flickered chaotically. From the 1st row to the 8th row, it only took a blink of an eye. When the 10th crystal on the 8th row lit up, it immediately turned scarlet, then purple, and finally black. The examinee was not a nobody, but a famous genius of Thunder region. However, he couldn't even be ranked in the top 10. 80, black. He actually reached the final limit of astral reaching realm's attack power. Everyone discussed spiritedly, gasping in admiration. It should be known that under ordinary circumstances, 80 crystals was already the maximum value of an astral reaching realm's attack power. However, the last crystal on every 2 rows had been tampered with, allowing it to emit 3 colors. The first color was scarlet, the second was purple, and the third was black. The meaning of red was purple, and purple was black. It could vividly reflect the examinee's attack power. If it were only this, everyone wouldn't be so shocked. What shocked them was that the examinee couldn't even be ranked in the top 10 of Thunder Region. Didn't this mean that there were at least 10 people in Thunder Region who could produce Black 80, or even above? Too powerful. Thunder Region is worthy of being the strongest region of Southern Sector. Be it comprehensive strength, average strength, or peak strength, they all surpass other regions. Black 80, perhaps the strongest experts of Mountain Region and South Rudra Region are also at this level. Perhaps not yet. The examination proceeded in an orderly manner. Through observation, it could be seen that only 10 to 20% of the examinees could pass this test. Soon, it was Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng's turn. Murong Qingcheng did not use all of her power. She lifted up her left hand slightly and hit on the power measuring column crystal from a distance. 80, black. Without waiting for the astonishment of the crowd, Yi Chen also began his test. Raising his index and middle fingers, he tapped in the air, and the 80th crystal also lit up black. Another black 80. 2 consecutive black 80s made everyone pay attention to Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng. However, they had never seen the two before, and didn't know which region they were from. At the other entrance of Beautiful Garden, Edict Prince is here. I wonder if he can produce 80-something. You'll know once you see it. Amidst the whispers of the crowd, Edict Prince faintly smiled and flicked out a finger energy. The finger energy collided with the crystal, and the crystal flashed with a dazzling radiance. It was Black 80. Black 80. It seems like the Edict Prince didn't reveal his true offensive power. That's right. How many people are willing to reveal their strongest offensive power on the strength testing pillar? Basically, it's fine. No, there is one. Although he won't reveal his true attack power, he will definitely be in the limelight. You mean the Astral Spirit Sun, right? Indeed, Astral Spirit Sun doesn't like to be under others. Among the 3 true dragon rank geniuses, he's the most domineering. Look, Edict Prince's female companion is also about to test her offensive power. The beautiful woman called Yushin did not move at all. She only glanced at the crystal. The crystal exploded, and the result was Black 80. What kind of attack is that? I'm sure she didn't make a move. I'm not sure. Maybe he did, but we didn't see it. Everyone was surprised and bewildered. Let's go in. Edict Prince pulled Yushin's hand and entered Splendid Garden. At the third entrance of Myeonshio Garden. 84. Astral Spirit Sun indeed has the offensive power of a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Moreover, it's not 81 or 82, but 84. He's even stronger than an early Sea of Soul Realm expert. Perhaps, this is not his strongest attack. Very likely. He has defeated Sea of Soul Realm experts before. Enjoying the worship of others, the red-haired youth stepped into Splendid Garden. The aura emanating from his body was like that of a demon or devil, wantonly and without restraint. If an ordinary person were to deliberately act like this, it would only leave the impression of arrogance. However, it was so natural for the red-haired Astral Spirit Sun, as if he was born this way. Behind Astral Spirit Sun, the purple-haired bewitching woman revealed a smile and inwardly said, "Senior brother, this time, I came not only to challenge Thunder Princess and Edict Prince. After challenging them, it will be your turn." Peng. The result was Black 80. The purple-haired woman left behind a fiery figure. The Splendid Garden occupied a vast area. The location of the tea party was the Mountain River stage at the center of the garden. The Mountain River stage was actually a platform with a circumference of several li. It was milky white in color, as if it was made of fine white marble. However, those who had visited the Splendid Garden knew that the material used to construct the stage was not white marble, but the essence left behind by the Thunder Vein Stone. It was called Thunder Vein Iron. The Thunder Vein Iron was used as the foundation, and a layer of top-grade white jade resin was cast over it, giving it a grand and heroic appearance. The Mountain River stage had pavilions arranged in picturesque disorder in all 4 directions. Only the center was a huge empty space of 2 li. At this moment, the Mountain River stage was already filled with a large number of youths under the age of 30. Moreover, the number was increasing rapidly. In a short while, it had become a black mass. What a good feng shui land. Relying on his dragon vein qi, Yi Chen could see the uniqueness of the mountain river stage with a single glance. This place was like the dragon's eye of Thunder City, adding the finishing touch. Murong Qingcheng glanced at the mountain river stage, but in the next moment, her gaze was attracted by two young men. The person walking in front of them was a handsome young man wearing a robe with 7 stars. His eyes were warm like jade, and he was tall and slender. When he walked, he didn't make a sound, but he didn't give off a strange feeling. Instead, it was as if he was walking on clouds. Wherever he went, the atmosphere would change. The red-haired young man walking over from the right was the complete opposite of the handsome young man. His aura was like that of a demon, extremely domineering. It was as if he was a demon general who controlled the world. His powerful aura even caused the atmosphere he was in to change. It was a bloody storm, and the wind and rain were everywhere. Involuntarily, Murong Qingcheng tilted her head to look at Yi Chen. This blue-robed swordsman who came from the same place as her had always been so calm. Although he was among so many geniuses, it was impossible not to notice him. He was neither exceptionally eye-catching, nor was he exceptionally easy to ignore. He was always in the middle, impartial and calm. At first glance, he seemed to be extremely calm. Only when one calmed down, would one be able to feel that peerless sword chi from his calmness, that sharpness that could draw blood at any time, and that tremor that could change the color of the world. Just as Murong Qingcheng had expected, there were not as many people paying attention to Yi Chen as she did. Even the handsome young man and the red-haired young man had noticed her first, and did not take Yi Chen as their main target. It was not because they did not have enough observational power. In fact, Murong Qingcheng and Yi Chen had only sensed it after staying together for a long time. If it were other spirit warriors or master-level warriors, they might not be able to tell that Yi Chen was not ordinary at all. There were 4 true dragon chi in the sky, but facing each other, it was very hard to tell who had the true dragon chi. Yi Chen also could not tell directly from observation. Only life and death realm warriors and masters proficient in feng shui and astrology would be able to tell, and it had nothing to do with power or observation power. Gradually, the number of people rushing over decreased. There were more than 300 people on the mountain river stage, close to 400. Among the crowd, Yi Chen saw Yang Qihua, Li Daoxian, Tuo Buku, Lin Yun, Bing Ling, Jiyu Yuyun, Chen Yun, and the others. Of course, there was also Sikong Sheng in black robes. Yi Chen, Murong, long time no see. Yang Qihua and Li Daoxian walked over. Yi Chen said, "You too." "Haha, Yi Chen, it has been a long time. After the tea gathering, we must have a good battle. These years, I have been through hell training." Only Tuo Buku could talk to Yi Chen like this. When he first met Yi Chen, it was to challenge him. Yi Chen forced a smile. "Let's deal with this tea gathering first. Don't worry. Although we are small in number, we will not fall behind." Tuo Buku was extremely confident. Soon after, Bing Ling walked over with a cold expression. On the other side, Sikong Sheng and 2 other young men in black robes stood together. "So, he is Yi Chen? He does not look like much." The younger man in black robes studied Yi Chen carefully and said. Sikong Sheng said, "We will know soon." "Why ask so much?" "Oh, to be able to make you pay so much attention to him, he should have some tricks up his sleeves. I wonder to what extent." 7th night, don't talk too much. Those who can participate in the tea gathering are not easy to deal with. Be careful not to fail. Hee, don't worry. I am not a 3-year-old kid. With a deep look, Sikong Sheng shifted his gaze to Yi Chen. Right at this moment, Yi Chen also looked over, and their eyes clashed. "Yi Chen, I have waited for a long time for this tea gathering. You did not disappoint me, choosing to participate in it." Sikong Sheng was very excited. A lot of people did not know that he was actually the first knight of the 7 Knights of the Moon Pavilion, which was only a branch of the Evil King Pavilion. After the last tea gathering, he had been invited by the Evil King to the Evil King Pavilion, but his identity had changed a bit. From the first Knight of the Moon Pavilion to the 7 Knights of the Evil King Pavilion, he had improved at an insane speed. Not only did he get rid of the identity of the 7 knights, his ranking had also increased rapidly, becoming the 4th knight of the 7 knights of the Evil King Pavilion. His power was only below the 1st knight, 2nd knight, and 3rd knight, which made him very valued by the Evil King. This time, he came back not only to redeem himself in the tea gathering, but also to defeat Yi Chen, his archenemy, to fulfill his biggest wish. Yi Chen, wait for my challenge. Seeing the shocking determination in his opponent's eyes, Yi Chen revealed a light smile on his face. After 4 years, he had indeed become more powerful, and his identity seemed to have changed as well. The 2 young men next to him were not simple at all. Although they looked calm, there was an extreme confidence hidden within. That kind of confidence was different from normal confidence. To be more precise, it was a kind of glory, a glory of status. Chapter 450. The Mountain River stage had gathered all the young heroes of the southern sector. Some of them appreciated each other, some of them didn't like each other no matter how they looked at each other. There were also some who fanned the flames and sat on the stage calmly. At this moment, the top young heroes of the younger generation had formed a small jianghu. From the east, a chilling aura blew over. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked over. On the small island next to the lake, a tall and slender beauty with long black hair and eyebrows all the way to her temples walked over. She was wearing a sky blue dress, and her shoulders were slightly broad. Her aura was quite strong, and her charm was not lacking in gentleness, and her gentleness was not lacking in aggressiveness. If one had to describe her, she was like a Valkyrie, a female emperor, a contradiction between gentleness and aggressiveness. Every man could find a side of her that they liked. She was none other than the Thunder Princess, whose fame had gradually surpassed the Edict Prince, the host of this martial tea gathering. Everyone, Jing Aoshuan has arrived a bit late. My apologies. The Thunder Princess, who was wearing a sky blue dress, walked onto the Mountain River stage. Her eyes were as sharp as thunder as she looked around and cupped her fists. What a heroine, a female emperor. Yi Chen had said 2 things in total when he arrived at the Mountain River stage. The first was the Mountain River stage, and the second was the Thunder Princess. It was easy to see how strong the feeling she gave him was. Not at all, not at all. We've only just arrived. Princess Jing, how have you been? Since the host is here, then the martial tea gathering should begin. Everyone was being polite, exchanging greetings. Of course, there were also some who couldn't wait. The Thunder Princess nodded and said, just like the previous times, everyone please take a seat according to your region. The Mountain River stage had a total of hundreds of pavilions. Inside each pavilion were tables and chairs, giving off an ancient feeling. Beside them, there were also well-trained and beautiful attendants. Hearing this, the young elites of each domain gathered together and chose a few neighboring pavilions to sit down. Yi Chen and the others chose 3 pavilions in the south and sat down separately. Glancing over, Yi Chen noticed that Xikong Sheng and the 2 young men in black robes had chosen a pavilion nearby. Jiyu Yuyun was sitting with them, and as for Li Jie, he had not reached the qualification to enter the Mion Show Garden yet. Looking at it this way, not counting the 2 men in black robes, including Xikong Sheng, there were only 17 warriors from the entire southern region. It was obvious that they were the side with the least number of warriors. The mountain region had about the same number of people as the South Rudra region. There were 20 people in total. Among these 20 people, it was obvious that the young man in the white robe and the young man in the blue robe were the leaders. The rest of them were not as powerful. Besides the South Rudra region and the mountain region, the other regions would be 1 level higher. Among them, the Black Gold region, the Wavy Cloud region, and the Misty Snow region would be 1 level higher, with 35, 40, and 38 people respectively. The other 2 regions outside of the South region would be the Fire Swamp region and the Snow Iron region. The Fire Swamp region would have 36 people while the Snow Iron region would have 42. Going up another level would be another level. The Gold Sand region, where the Astral Spirit Sun was, had 55 people. The Edict Prince's Floating Light region had 60 people. The region with the most people was naturally the Thunder region, which had 78 people and occupied 15 pavilions. All in all, There would be young elites from 10 regions participating in this tea gathering: Thunder Region, Floating Light Region, Gold Sand Region, Wavy Cloud Region, Misty Snow Region, Black Gold Region, Mountain Region, South Rudra Region, Fire Swamp Region, and Snow Iron Region. This might not be accurate, because the two black-robed young men with Sikong Sheng were obviously not young elites from any of the regions. In Yi Chen's pavilion, there were only 3 people: Yi Chen, Tuor Buku, and a new top genius from the South Rudra region called Mu Lingfeng. Mu Lingfeng was not a disciple of a 6th grade sect, but a 7th grade sect. In the last Hidden Dragon ranking, he had also amazed the world with a single brilliant feat, obtaining the 3rd rank of the Hidden Dragon ranking, which simply shocked everyone. As for Murong Qingcheng, she was sitting in another pavilion. She was, after all, a disciple of the Sky Demon Martial School, so she had to sit with the people of the Sky Demon Martial School. Moreover, Mo Yang and Yi Chen didn't get along well. Although he was the representative of the Sky Demon Martial School, Mu Lingfeng didn't have any temper in front of Yi Chen, and was even somewhat restrained. It should be known that Yi Chen was not much older than him, only a year and a half difference. It was just that Yi Chen had made his debut 1 year earlier than him. Tuor Buku chuckled and said to Mu Lingfeng, "Relax, it's not like he's going to eat you." Hearing him, Mu Lingfeng smiled awkwardly. He didn't know what was going on with him. Sitting together with Yi Chen, he felt a lot of pressure. Others didn't feel the same way, not even Tuor Buku. Yi Chen smiled at him and didn't say anything. The table was filled with all kinds of desserts and fruits. Some of the desserts and fruits were unheard of. There was also a beautiful attendant brewing tea. The strong fragrance of tea wafted through the air. With just a sniff, one would feel the endless aftertaste and feel relaxed and happy. Right then, the voice of the Thunder Princess was heard from afar. The martial tea gathering is held once every 2 years. It is a gathering for everyone to exchange pointers. I hope that everyone will not be too reserved. Sipping tea while watching others battle, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Edict Prince, the host of the last tea gathering, continued, "What the Thunder Princess said is correct. Those who can participate in the martial tea gathering are all outstanding talents. Since you are here, don't bother about winning or losing. What you need to worry about is whether you have comprehended something or not, whether you have improved or not. This is the true purpose of the martial tea gathering. Since the Thunder Princess and the Edict Prince have said so, let me start. I am Black Gold Region's Hua Feng. Who is willing to battle with me?" Hua Feng was not worried about the appearance of a young elite whose strength was much higher than his. The martial tea gathering would be held in this place. Before going up to battle, he would first estimate his opponent's strength. If he felt that he was about the same level as his opponent, then he would go up. If he felt that he was much stronger, then he would not go up at all. So what if he won? The opponent was not the Edict Prince or the Thunder Princess. I, Lining Hao of the Misty Snow region, will battle you. Shoo. From the pavilion of the Misty Snow region, a figure shot out. Please advise me. Please advise me. The two were dozens of meters away from each other as they cupped their fists. Suddenly, their gazes sharpened as they stared at each other without blinking, looking for an opportunity to attack. Hua Feng took the initiative and attacked. Lining Hao did not dare to be careless as he raised his sword to meet the attack. One of them used a hammer, while the other used a sword. The two were locked in a fierce battle, causing the air to vibrate. In the end, it was still Hua Feng who came out on top and won the first battle of the martial tea gathering. With a start, the rest was easy. The young elites of each domain appeared one after another, sometimes even having 2 or 3 matches at the same time. Gorgeous true essence reflected a rainbow of colors, and wonderful martial skills appeared one after another. It was incomparably gorgeous. Everyone in the pavilion was drinking tea as they watched the matches. It was a very pleasant sight. During this time, a few people from the South Rudra region also stepped up. They were all famous young geniuses of this year. However, the gap between them and the geniuses from other regions was too huge. Without exception, all of them lost, which made Yang Qihua and the others faintly crease their brows. Haha, is there no one in your South Rudra region? Let your strongest person come up. I will defeat him by myself. After defeating a genius from the South Rudra region, the yellow-haired youngster pointed at the pavilion of the South Rudra region with an extremely arrogant expression. All of a sudden, everyone looked in the direction of the South Rudra region. There is indeed no one in the South Rudra region. 17 people defeated 5 in a row. What can the remaining 12 do? Dong Haoxiong is a famous young expert from the Gold Sand region. Who knows, he might really be able to sweep the entire South Rudra region. The South Rudra region is too embarrassed. They are being challenged by others. I wonder if the strongest person will go up next. Everyone discussed in low voices. Mu Lingfeng couldn't bear it anymore. He suddenly stood up and yelled, "You want to challenge the strongest person of my South Rudra region? Dream on. I, Mu Lingfeng, will try you." He was just about to step up when Yi Chen sent a Zhenyuan transmission to him. Earlier, he used about 80% of his strength. Also, be careful of his blade arts. If I'm not wrong, he should be left-handed. Mu Lingfeng was shocked inwardly. He didn't know how Yi Chen could see so much. However, a person's reputation was like a tree's shadow. With Yi Chen's status, he wouldn't ignore these words. Shoo! Mu Lingfeng flew over. Clang! 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 His weapon was also a blade. The two blades continuously clashed together, creating dazzling sparks. The two's figures couldn't even be seen anymore. Eat my blade! Taking a step back, Dong Haoxiong switched his blade to his left hand and met the attack once again. The completely opposite blade arts made some of the spectating young experts feel very uncomfortable. Dang! Mu Lingfeng blocked it, but only he knew that without Yi Chen's warning, he would have most likely lost to Dong Haoxiong. Dong Haoxiong was extremely shocked. Even in the Gold Sand region, not many people knew about his left-handed blade. He thought that once he used his left hand, his opponent would immediately be defeated. However, he didn't expect that Mu Lingfeng would be prepared for this. Not only did he block his attack, he even counterattacked while he was distracted. The two had similar strength, but Mu Lingfeng was a bit more skillful. Therefore, Dong Haoxiong's left-hand blade lost its effectiveness, and he gradually fell into a disadvantage. Let go. A blade light flickered as Mu Lingfeng knocked away Dong Haoxiong's blade. Hey! He won. Someone was slightly surprised. After winning against Dong Haoxiong, Mu Lingfeng sheathed his blade and said with a loud voice, "Although our South Rudra region doesn't have many people, you don't have the qualifications." Dong Haoxiong coldly glanced at Mu Lingfeng, then picked up his blade and walked down the stage. "Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let me experience your skills." Feeling embarrassed, someone from the Gold Sand region walked out. Mu Lingfeng was not afraid at all. He knew that his chances of winning the next battle were very small. Since the opponent dared to come up, his strength must be above Dong Haoxiong's. Mu Lingfeng, don't panic. When this guy walks, his right foot is 30% heavier than his left. His muscles are purposely relaxed, so he should be training the right leg martial arts. His hands' qi and blood are more vigorous than ordinary people's, so his hand martial arts should not be weak either. Just attack his left hand with all your strength so that he won't be able to find his own rhythm. Lastly, your blade arts are somewhat messy, which should be a bit uncoordinated with your footwork. Therefore, don't casually use your speed to chase after him, lest he finds your flaws. The one who sent the message was still Yi Chen. Mu Lingfeng sucked in a breath of air and turned his head to look at Yi Chen. Chapter 451. What? Are you scared? The newcomer was about 25 or 26 years old, with a muscular body and a threatening gaze. Seeing that Mu Lingfeng was a bit absent-minded, he thought that he was shocked by his aura. Turning his head, Mu Lingfeng said, "Try and you will know. Hee, wait for your defeat. Before that, remember my name, Li Shao." Ha! Just as he finished his words, Li Shao jumped up from the ground and kicked out with his right leg like a shooting star. Crescent moon cut. Mu Lingfeng's eyes were sharp as he took a step forward with his right leg. The long blade in his hand brushed against the ground and slashed out. Swoosh! A bright yellow blade light flew up from the ground, attacking Li Xiao's left side. Hey! Li Xiao frowned and changed his leg art from a kick to a sweep, sending out a powerful kick that shattered the blade light. Crescent west wind. Mu Lingfeng had made up his mind to attack Li Xiao's left side. Therefore, no matter how Li Xiao's leg art changed, he was not affected at all. His determined eyes seemed to be able to see through all of Li Xiao's flaws. After dozens of moves, Li Xiao gradually felt that something was wrong. Originally, his strength was 30% higher than Mu Lingfeng's, and logically speaking, he should have the upper hand while his opponent was struggling to hold on. But now, the two of them were evenly matched, and as time passed, Li Xiao's leg technique was greatly restricted. I can beat you even without leg arts. Pouring Zhen Yuan into his palms, Li Xiao spun his body, and a powerful palm power rushed out like a rolling wave. Come. Mu Lingfeng became more and more aggressive as he performed his blade art. It was like moving clouds and flowing water, without any hindrance. It pushed the blade aura and blade intent to the peak. Boom. Another dozens of moves passed. The two seemed to have a telepathic connection as they both threw out their most powerful attacks. The chi wave was enough to tear open mountains, pushing them back and making them puke out blood. Alright, this battle is considered a draw. Thunder Princess stopped the two who wanted to fight again. You are lucky this time. Not being able to beat Mu Lingfeng made Li Xiao's face turn ugly. However, since Thunder Princess had asked him to stop, he did not dare to not give her face. Mu Lingfeng's eyes were calm. Next time, you will not be my opponent. Just like that, the two left the place. Sorry, I didn't defeat him. After returning to his seat, Mu Lingfeng sent a true essence sound transmission to Yi Chen. He was already convinced by Yi Chen. Yi Chen said, "It doesn't matter. I'm already very surprised that you managed to tie. After all, there's still a big gap between you and him. It's not like you can defeat him with just a few pointers." Yi Chen was indeed surprised. He had thought that Mu Lingfeng would not lose too badly, but he did not expect his opponent to have such a horrifying comprehensive ability. Not only did he follow through with what he had told him, but he had also performed beyond his expectations, displaying his own characteristics. No wonder he was called the representative of the new generation of martial geniuses in the South Rudra region. He was the new star after Yi Chen's Hidden Dragon rank competition. The South Rudra region did not have a good start, and neither did the mountain region. Even though the other regions did not purposely target the mountain region, all of the young warriors from the mountain region had been defeated one after another. Without exaggerating, powerful regions like the Thunder region, the Floating Light region, and the Gold Sand region, even the weakest young warrior could defeat half of the people from the mountain region. It was an undeniable fact. Cold Moon Spear, Sai Xingfeng, is it really okay for you to not go up? Up until now, your mountain region has not won a single battle. Pointing at the center of the stage, a tall young man named Cao Tai from the Snow Iron region said. Hearing him, Cold Moon Spear Shu Jiang, who was wearing a white robe, stood up slowly. Sai Xingfeng frowned and said, "Are we going up now?" Shu Jiang said, "Besides you and me, no one else would be safe. Be careful." Sai Xingfeng knew what Shu Jiang was thinking. Only by beating his opponent would the situation in the mountain region not be that bad, just like the South Rudra region. The battle had begun. Shu Jiang was not called the Cold Moon Spear for no reason. With a long silver spear in his hand, the spear light spread out in all directions. It was like he was standing in the dark water, filled with the reflection of the moon. Cao Tai had trained the gold element Zhen Yuan, which was not only powerful in attacking, but also in defense. Combined with his martial intent, he managed to block out the Cold Moon Spear's spear aura. If you only have this much power, then you will not be able to block out the next spear attack. Shu Jiang said lightly. Cao Tai sneered, "You and I are at the same power level. You want to beat me with one spear attack? That is impossible. Bring it on." All right. Shu Jiang took a deep breath as his silver long spear started to spin. The spear shadow spun in the air as Yuan Qi surged. A horrifying deep ocean swirl seemed to have appeared in front of Shu Jiang, dragging in the air from all directions. As the spear speed got faster and faster, The pulling power got stronger and stronger. Cao Tai, who was battling with Xu Jiang, froze for a second, and his body started to crash into the tip of the spear. Not good. Cao Tai was shocked. His Zhen Yuan exploded as he tried his best to get rid of the pulling power. Too late. A spear mark appeared in the air. Cao Tai's protective Zhen Yuan layer was broken, and his clothes were cut open. If it were not for the fact that his opponent had shown mercy, that spear attack would definitely have pierced through his heart. Thank you. Xu Jiang took back his spear and stood up. Brilliant. Cao Tai and Xu Jiang did not have any deep hatred between them, so losing was not a big deal. Plus, the latter's spear art was indeed impressive. Cold Moon Spear Xu Jiang, I, Hua Xiao, have been wanting to fight you for a long time. Let's spar. A warrior from the Fire Swamp region flew out. Xu Jiang frowned, knowing that this person would not be easy to deal with. The warrior who had come out was one of the top 5 warriors from the Fire Swamp region. He had beaten 10 people in a row in the last tea gathering, and was eventually beaten by Mo Xiong from the Thunder region. After 2 years, his power should have improved a little, but Yi Chen had no idea how much he had improved. Please teach me. Xu Jiang threw out a spear flower. Sure. The Fire Swamp region was mostly covered in mud, which contained a lot of decaying things. These decaying things accumulated over a long period of time and turned into burning gas, which caused many places in the Fire Swamp region to be on fire all year round. It was extremely strange. Most of the warriors living in the Fire Swamp region had fire element bodies, which allowed them to train fire element Zhen Yuan with half the effort. This Hua Xiao had trained fire element Zhen Yuan. Boom. A pale green flame shot out. Hua Xiao's power was much higher than Cao Tai's, which forced Xu Jiang to back out continuously. For a moment, he could not perform the attack that had beaten Cao Tai. Fire Shine World. Hua Xiao threw out a fist attack. That aggressive burning fist power rushed out at a high speed, forming waves of turbulence that blew away Xu Jiang, who had used all of his power. Hua Xiao has won. The warriors from the Fire Swamp region are quite powerful after all. One of the pillars of the mountain region had lost. Now, there is only the Star Race Mountain left. If even he had lost, then the mountain region would be in an awkward position in this tea gathering. The South Rudra region and the mountain region had been weak for a long time. They would not be able to change the situation in 1 or 2 years. The defeat of the mountain region had given everyone a common topic to talk about. As they chatted, they started to talk about the South Rudra region. Yang Qihua stood up in front of everyone's surprised eyes and walked onto the stage with big steps. He wanted to change everyone's opinion of the South Rudra region. The South Rudra region would no longer be the South Rudra region from before. Even if there were fewer people, they would still be able to make a name for themselves. Chin. Taking out his red great blade, Yang Qihua pointed it at Hua Xiao. Make your move. Oh. Hua Xiao's eyebrows flicked as he asked, why is Xikong Sheng not on the stage yet? It has been 2 years since the last tea gathering. Don't tell me he has not made any progress at all. Yang Qihua said, I am more than enough. All right then. I will beat you first, then force Xikong Sheng out. Although Xikong Sheng was not one of the top warriors in the last tea gathering, he was still a powerful warrior. Hua Xiao did not have the confidence to beat him 2 years ago, and it was the same now. But, beating a nameless warrior would be a piece of cake for him. Both of them cultivated fire-attributed Zhen Yuan. Instantly, 2 square miles of open space were engulfed in flames. The scorching heat soared into the sky, and even the extremely tough and flexible high-grade white jade was burned until it cracked, making crackling sounds. Fire Shine World. Hua Xiao performed the attack that he had used to beat Xu Jiang. Yang Qihua did not back out at all. Instead, he dove down and threw out a blade attack from below. That blade attack seemed to crack open the ground, and the lava started to boil. The fire wave that reached into the sky condensed into a huge red blade, which not only shattered the fist power, but also blew away Hua Xiao. 33 blade net. With only 1 blade attack, Yang Qihua did not stop his blade aura as he threw out 33 blade attacks in a row. That burning hot blade light crisscrossed, forming into a blade net that fell down towards Hua Xiao. Swoosh. 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 Hua Xiao tried his best to attack the blade net, but the fire wave in the net had cancelled out a part of his fist power. The rest of his fist power could only break a small part of the net before his protective Jin Yuan was shattered. He puked out a mouthful of blood and was blown away. What? Yang Qihua from the South Rudra region won? This Hua Xiao is one of the top 5 warriors in the Fire Swamp region after all. He is not some nameless warrior, but this Yang Qihua is obviously not the number 1 warrior in the South Rudra region, but he still managed to beat Hua Xiao. This kind of power has already reached beyond the mountain region. How surprising. Yang Qihua's victory had made a lot of people realize that the South Rudra region did not seem to be easy to deal with. Although there were not many of them, their aura was not weak at all. Plus, among the 17 warriors who had come, more than half of them had not fought yet, so no one could tell how powerful they were. After beating Hua Xiao, Yang Qihua had 2 more opponents, both of whom were no weaker than Hua Xiao. The one behind him was a warrior from the Wavy Cloud region, who was 30% more powerful. The battles were tough, and the situation had changed a couple of times. In the end, Yang Qihua managed to hold on and won 3 battles in a row, bringing the South Rudra region to a level that could not be underestimated. Not bad. It is worth my time. It was a warrior from the Black Gold region. From the crowd, it was Shi Yang, who was ranked 3rd in the Black Gold region. He had beaten Sikong Sheng in the last Hidden Dragon rank, and was the one who had humiliated Sikong Sheng. Seeing him come out, Sikong Sheng squeezed his eyes, but did not say anything. Yang Qihua, let me go. You should rest and recover your Jin Yuan. Li Daoxian could tell that Yang Qihua had used up a lot of his energy, so it would be hard for him to win against Shi Yang. Therefore, he decided to take his place. Yang Qihua hesitated for a second, then said, "You be careful. This guy seems to be very dangerous." "I know." Li Daoxian nodded. "Yi Chen, do you think Li Daoxian could win?" Mu Lingfeng was very impressed by Yi Chen, so he could not help but ask. Yi Chen said, "The 2 of them have similar spirit, qi, and soul. So, the final battle would probably be the power of will." Chapter 452. If each region could be divided into 3 levels, then the young warriors could be divided into 3 levels as well. The first level would be warriors who had not formed their martial spirits yet, the second level would be warriors who had formed their martial spirits, and the third level would be warriors who had not only formed their martial spirits, but also had one or two advantages that others would not be able to achieve, such as martial arts, Zhenyuan, and martial spirits. Without a doubt, Li Daoxian had already reached the second level, and he was not that weak in the second level. He was in the middle level. As for whether or not he would be able to go further, it would all depend on his upcoming performance. Li Daoxian was not weak, and as Li Daoxuan's opponent, Shi Yang was not weak either. The Black Gold region might be a little bit weaker than the Misty Snow region and the Wavy Cloud region, but it was only by a little bit. In other words, if he was ranked third in the Black Gold region, the spiral-shaped staff be ranked almost penetrated the Misty Snow region and the Wavy Cloud region. Of course, it was not the spiral rod radiance, and there would always be exceptions. Expression did not change. The growth of the martial sword at his waist was instantly unpredictable, and a cold star blossom from 2 years ago would not be the same after 2 years. Otherwise, you do have there would be no need for the tea gathering to be held again and again. He had used underestimated your South Rudra region. Although it was just a rank in the South Rudra region, was not weak at all. Shi Yang's weapon was a dragon stick. Would have to spend a bit in his power to deal with it. His aura seemed but he did not expect it to be broken this easily. His tall and slim body you seemed to be able to hold up mine as well. As he looked down after shattering the spiral with a pair of disdainful eyes. Li Daoxian shook his right wrist, glanced at Yi Chen and Xikong Sheng out, then smiled as he threw out that sword attack. The air seemed to freeze as the sword light flew out at an extreme speed. Do you have that many powerful warriors in the sounds from the outside world and the sword light had disappeared completely? You would only be ranked fifth. I could not believe that I had misjudged you. Then laughed out loud. 6 cold light dots shone in front of Shi Yang was belittling him and elevating the South Rudra 3 steps. Believe it or not, for his fast reflexes and his staff defending was not trying to belittle himself. Those 6 sword lights would have broken all the people from the South Rudra region and wounded him badly. He did not think that he would be able to compete with too creepy and Xikong Sheng. Silent sword attack. Besides those two, Yi Chen had recognized this attack. Both looked in the hidden dragon rank competitions. Li Daoxian had made a name for himself with his silent sword that he had thought about. Although he had still lost to Yi Chen, it would be hard to say for sure. And Yang Chihua, but even if he dared to underestimate it, people would think that he was belittling himself. The silent sword attack had appeared again. So why would he want to belittle himself? Its power had increased by 6 times. Take this. Therefore, taking a step it would be more appropriate to call it 6 silent sword attacks. Carrying this staff, Shi Yang tightened his grip on the coiling dragon staff and there was no in his right hand and attacked with a simple azure dragon comes out. And this Li Daoxian is a sword artist. Since when did such powerful blade artists and sword artists appear in the South Rudra region? With their power, they would be able to be ranked in the top 15 even in our Thunder region. If that Xikong Sheng is even more powerful than them, then the South Rudra region would be able to get rid of the title of being a weak region. That might be the case. These two are the most powerful warriors in the whole South Rudra region. It is possible. Without hearing the crowd's discussion, Li Daoxian had all of his attention on Shi Yang. The latter's battling power was just too powerful. In the last tea gathering, it was not luck that he was able to beat Xikong Sheng. He indeed had the power. He had almost used all of his ace attacks, but he still could not wound his opponent at all. On the other hand, his shoulder had been stabbed by the dragon staff, and it was getting more and more painful. I can't go on like this. I have to finish on his shoulder as soon as possible. Reminding Li Daoxian that the longer it dragged on, the less likely he would be able to win. Shi Yang's power was way beyond Yang Chihua's and his own imagination. Luckily, I was replaced by Li Daoxian. Otherwise, I would have lost within 100 attacks. Yang Chihua was still scared. It was not because he was afraid of Shi Yang, but because he had already fought 3 battles before, all of which were not easy to deal with, which had cost him a lot of energy. If he were to fight Shi Yang without his full power, losing within 100 attacks would already be an optimistic outcome. In fact, Yang Chihua did not even have the confidence to handle 50 attacks. Dao is emotionless, but it has emotions. His robe danced in the air as Li Daoxian jumped up from the ground, throwing out a fatal sword attack towards Shi Yang. This sword attack was the last movement of his emotionless sword art, which was as powerful as a 30% trained low-rank profound sense martial art. It was even more mysterious than other sword arts. The muscles on his arms expanded as Shi Yang switched to holding the staff with both of his hands. The dragon staff danced and spun in the air, creating layers of staff curtains in front of his body, continuously breaking down the sharp sword qi that Li Daoxian had thrown out. Break. Waiting until Li Daoxuan's sword aura had been exhausted, Shi Yang yelled as his staff power increased drastically, shattering all of the sword chi before throwing out another attack towards Li Daoxian. Pooh! Puking out a mouthful of blood, Li Daoxian was sent flying out. But at the same time Li Daoxian flew, a plum blossom suddenly bloomed in front of Shi Yang, imprinting on his chest, soft and gentle. Cough. Once the plum blossom landed, Shi Yang puked out a huge amount of blood. When the plum blossom appeared, he told himself that there was something strange about it, and that he could not afford to be careless. However, at that moment, his rationality and his subconscious seemed to have some kind of conflict, which caused his reaction speed to be a bit slower, allowing the plum blossom to take advantage of his weakness. So, this is what it means by emotionless, but it has emotions. Shi Yang suddenly realized that this sword attack was different from normal sword attacks. It contained emotions within the emotionless attack, and this little bit of emotion was the most deadly killing intent, which was even scarier than emotionless attacks. The extreme of yin gave birth to yang, and the extreme of yang gave birth to yin. Within the emotionless attack, the emotions were the scariest, and vice versa. Both of them had been wounded quite badly, so they could only end in a draw. To all Buku praised, "It has been a couple of years since we last met, and everyone has improved so much. I thought I was the only one who had been through hell training." Yi Chen said, "Why don't you go up there and have a battle as well?" He, what is the point of battling with these people? At least there needs to be someone who has the same power as me. Yi Chen, what about you? Me, I will go when the time comes. Yi Chen did not have the intention of going up as the last one. When the time came, even if the opponent was a bit weaker, he would still go up to show his strength. At least, he would bring some glory to the South Rudra region. Li Daoxian fighting Shi Yang to a draw was not something that many people had expected. No matter what, Shi Yang was still the third-ranked young warrior in the Black Gold region, and could be ranked in the top 50 or even the top 30 of the whole South region. What kind of place was South Rudra region? In the last tea gathering, only Sikong Sheng had participated. This time, the number of people had increased by 16 times. However, in the eyes of the crowd, they were still at the bottom. And now, these bottom warriors were showing signs of rising up. How could they not be shocked? South Rudra region is not the same anymore. You better not look down on it. Yeah. South Rudra region is several times more powerful than the mountain region. You can't mix them up. The night gradually fell, and the entire Mion Shio garden was as brightly lit as it was during the day. Basically, every 10 steps, there would be a sunlight crystal pillar. The sunlight crystal pillar was 3 meters tall, emitting a gentle white light that wasn't dazzling to the eyes. This allowed the tea gathering to continue under the bright light. Bang! Blood spilled everywhere. The last pillar of the mountain region, the Star Race Mountain, had fallen down. It was not because he was weak, but because his opponent was too powerful. Right now, almost all of the warriors from the mountain region had been wiped out. The remaining few small fries would not be able to do anything. How could they be more powerful than the Cold Moon Spear and the Star Race Mountain? It is time for the mountain region to remember this humiliation. The Cold Moon Spear. Xu Jiang closed his eyes painfully. In the past, there had always been the South Rudra region at the bottom, and the mountain region had always been a bit more powerful than the South Rudra region. This had made a lot of people choose to be blind and deceive themselves. But now, the South Rudra region had worked hard and gotten rid of the title of being a weak region, while the mountain region was still struggling. Right then, even the Thunder Princess and the Edict Prince were shaking their heads. The mountain region was too weak. Besides the Cold Moon Spear and the Star Race Mountain, the others were all at the first level, and not even the most powerful ones. "Sorry, I would like to take my leave." A young man from the mountain region stood up and held his fists towards the Thunder Princess. The Thunder Princess's eyes were like lightning as she said slowly, "If you can't even handle this little pressure, you will not be able to achieve anything in the future. It is up to you whether you want to leave or not. I will not stop you." The Star Race Mountain, who had just lost the battle, said with a low voice, "Sit down. Don't embarrass the mountain region anymore." We cannot afford it anymore. Hearing him, the young man sat down with shame. The one who had beaten the Star Race Mountain was the third most powerful warrior among the young generation of the Wavy Cloud region, Wang Lin, who was only below the Red Waterman and Duan Lingyun. But that was the ranking from 2 years ago. 2 years later, he did not think that he would lose to the Red Waterman and Duan Lingyun. After destroying the last hope of the mountain region, Wang Lin suddenly turned his attention to the South Rudra region. Yang Chihua had used up a lot of energy, so he probably would not join the battle. Li Daoxian had injured his meridians during the battle with Shi Yang, so he would not join the battle either. He would like to see what other powerful warriors the South Rudra region still had. A smile appeared on his face as Wang Lin pointed his finger in the direction of the South Rudra region. I wonder if there is anyone from the South Rudra region who dares to accept my challenge? Hehe, this guy really dares to say that. Tuor Buku licked his lips. Shaking his head, Yi Chen surprisingly stood up. It would be good to go up there and exercise a bit. No way. You are really going up there? Tuor Buku opened his eyes wide. Yi Chen laughed. Why not? There is no need to make the tea gathering so serious. Just relax a bit. Not only was Tuor Buku surprised, everyone who knew Yi Chen was also surprised. There were people from the South Rudra region, Feng Yenro and Ling Hanye from the Floating Snow Palace. Chapter 453. Shu. Ignoring everyone's shock, Yi Chen lightly tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. Like an illusory blue cloud, he appeared in front of Wang Lin within a second. I will be your opponent. Wang Lin studied Yi Chen carefully. The latter's temperament was indeed very elegant, and the great sword on his waist also told him that he was a sword artist. Could it be that there were 2 top sword artists in the South Rudra region? Wang Lin chuckled and said to Yi Chen, "What kind of ace do you have? Just use it." Yi Chen smiled lightly and did not waste any time. His right hand touched the handle of the sword, then he pulled it out, threw it out, and put it back. The 3 movements seemed to have merged into one, and it was as fast as lightning. Chin. The half-moon-shaped sword Qi suddenly landed on the blade that Wang Lin had just pulled out, and a bright flame shot out like a sickle. Wang Lin's body bent as both of his feet rubbed against the ground, sliding hundreds of meters away. The expression on his face was first shock, then realization, and finally seriousness. Using Qi to control the sword, upper stage. The Thunder Princess opened her red lips and slowly spat out a few words. There were 3 realms for taking out the sword and throwing it out. The first realm was using the body to control the sword, the second was using the Qi to control the sword, and the third was using the mind to control the sword. Those who could reach the second realm would be considered as sword artists. However, the second realm was also divided into lower, middle, and upper stages. The lower stages were only at the beginning, so they were not familiar with it yet. The middle stages had already reached the point where they could control it without any mistakes. The upper stages were even more horrifying, as the sword was the Qi, and the Qi was the sword. When he took the last step, Chen took out the blade aura was like a bomb, told everyone that his sword was not weaker than Li Daoxian's, the blade in his hand but even more waved powerful. shooting out hundreds of
that
thousands
there is
of blade
another
lights.
top sword artist.
Each of them was as fast as lightning, blocking all of Yi Chen's
this one is
escape
even more
routes.
powerful than
Wang
the
Lin
previous
considered Yi Chen
has
his
already
biggest
shown
enemy,
the sharpness
so he
of a sword
immediately used a
artist.
killing move.
If it were not for
Facing
Wang
this
Lin's
horrifying
good luck,
full-range
that sword attack would have
Yi Chen's
wounded him
expression
badly.
did not change at all.
If Wang Lin had
lifted
been
up
a bit
his
more
green
careless
lotus sword
and did not
with his
take
right
out his
hand
blade
and swung
that
it from
sword
left
chi
to
would
right.
not have been blocked
All of
so
a sudden, a
coincidentally.
dense wave of
Like
sword
boiling
chi
water,
spread out. Everyone started to
shattering
discuss.
the incoming blade
Is it
light,
really just a
making it
coincidence
hard for him to move forward?
Wang Lin vaguely
However,
felt that
the
the opponents
spectators in
seemed
the
to know that
pavilions
he was
had
going
no
to take
choice
out his
but to get
blade.
busy.
Otherwise,
Due to the
it
clash
would be
between
too
the
much of a
saber gleams
coincidence.
and the sword chi,
I cannot
the
be
resulting
careless.
shockwaves were
Wang
quite
Lin's
powerful.
expression was
a
very
single
serious.
shockwave was nothing.
He had
But
already
if one
considered
shockwave
Yi
after
Chen
another
his
were to
biggest
radiate
opponent.
out, all
If
the
he didn't
pavilions
use
would be blown away and
120%
destroyed.
of his strength,
The surroundings of the
likely
Pointer
lose.
River platform
Walking back
would also
to his
be
original
destroyed.
spot step by
Just
step,
as everyone
the
was
blade
trying to
aura
block
on
the
Wang Lin's
shockwaves,
body was
Wang
getting
Lin
stronger
attacked
and
again.
stronger. He jumped up from the ground, holding the long blade with both of his hands, and swung the blade down as if he wanted to split the entire platform into two. Boom! The platform shook slightly. As the high-quality white jade resin turned into dust, the violent blade energy flew out and licked at Yi Chen's body. What a powerful blade attack! Yi Chen could naturally tell that this blade attack was not normal. The blade energy contained the spinning and spitting power of the flame. Once hit, no matter how strong the protective Jin Yuan was, it would not be able to block it. It would be torn apart, and the person inside would be severely wounded as well. Shadow explosion. It had been a long time since Yi Chen had used his separating shadow flying art. It was not that this art was outdated, but it was just that he did not have many opportunities to use it. Plus, it was precisely because he had not used it for a long time that he was able to walk out of the pattern of his flying art, and was not restricted by it. Seeing the blade light approaching him, Yi Chen's body shook, and countless black shadows shot out in all directions. Some of them even clashed with each other, which increased their speed and allowed them to escape from the attacking range of the blade light. Crack! A huge pit appeared where Yi Chen had been standing. The bottom of the pit was very hard, and there was a thunder pattern iron that could break down thunder and Jin Yuan's impact. It was because of the thunder pattern iron that the Thunder Princess dared to hold the tea gathering at the mountain and river stage. Seeing that the blade energy had missed its target, Wang Lin became alert and quickly jumped back. Unfortunately, he was still a bit too slow. The cyan-colored sword light had already cut open his protective Jin Yuan and easily knocked him away when he was halfway to the stage. The one who had attacked was naturally Yi Chen, who had just revealed himself. Thanks for letting me win. Yi Chen put his green lotus sword back into its scabbard. May I know your name? Wang Lin took a deep look at Yi Chen and asked. Yi Chen, I will remember you. You are one of the 3 most powerful young sword artists I have ever met. Wang Lin held his fists together and went back to his seat. After beating Wang Lin, Yi Chen's name had been known by everyone present for the first time. The South Rudra region had also become more and more famous because of him, and it seemed like it was about to reach the 2nd level. Everyone thought that after Wang Lin, who was ranked number 3 in the Wavy Cloud region, lost the battle, Duan Lingyun, who was ranked number 2 in the Wavy Cloud region, would come out. However, he did not seem to want to fight against Yi Chen at all. Seeing that Duan Lingyun was acting like this, the Red Water Miner did not want to go out and fight against Yi Chen directly, so he frowned slightly. Gold Sand Region's Wu Feihan, please teach me a lesson. Wu Feihan was ranked number 4 in the Gold Sand region. Being able to be ranked number 4 in the Gold Sand region, one of the top 3 powerful regions, meant that he was way more powerful than the number 3 in the Wavy Cloud region. Duan Lingyun, who was ranked number 2, might not be more powerful than him either. Once he got onto the stage, he attacked toward Yi Chen along with that shocking heat wave. That bright light kept shooting out. Facing that burning palm power, Yi Chen only threw out one sword attack. That one sword attack had extinguished the heat wave, and a corner of Wu Feihan's clothes had been cut off. 6 suns into 1, Wu Feihan's mind tightened, and he subconsciously threw out a killing attack. 6 sun-like palm power turned into a huge bright palm in the sky, and a layer of golden halo appeared. The halo shook once, and the golden chi wave spread out in all directions. The top-rank white jade on the ground started to melt as it attacked toward Yi Chen, who was not far away. Sky Thunder cut. That burning huge golden palm seemed to be indestructible, but Yi Chen's Sky Thunder cut could even cut a mid-rank great weapon into pieces, not to mention a palm made of Jin Yuan. Swoosh. The 5 fingers of the huge palm were all cut off by the sword attack. What? Wu Feihan was very surprised, so he threw out another palm attack. Pooh. The palm power was cut into pieces again. Yi Chen held the thunder sword and flashed a couple of times before arriving in front of Wu Feihan, throwing out a sword attack. Wu Feihan hurried to put up a thick layer of protective Jin Yuan around his body, which was made of compressed that he could block out Yi Chen's attack. However, he had underestimated the speed and sharpness of the Sky Thunder cut. That highly compressed protective Jin Yuan was like a red crystal, and a black crack appeared on it. I lost. Wu Feihan took a deep breath, feeling a bit shocked. As Wu Feihan admitted defeat, all of the regions started to discuss it. TSK. Impressive. He has already beaten 2 top young warriors in a row. For the South Rudra region, this is indeed an impressive achievement. Wang Lin and Wu Feihan are both not weak warriors. One is ranked 3rd in the Wavy Cloud region, while the other is ranked 4th in the Gold Sand region. They are already at the top level of the 2nd level. I really do not understand the South Rudra region. In the last tea gathering, there was only 1 warrior. But this time, there are 17 of them. Among them, Yang Qihua, Li Daoxian, and Yi Chen are all very powerful. Could it be that they were weak 2 years ago? No way. They have improved so fast in 2 years. Inside the square formation of the Wavy Cloud region, the Red Waterman talked to Duan Lingyun with his Zhen Yuan. Why don't you go challenge him? Why should I? Duan Lingyun asked back. You are not afraid of him, are you? The Red Waterman sneered. My business is none of your business. As for challenging him, you can do it yourself. Duan Lingyun knew that Yi Chen had not revealed his real power yet, and he was not an idiot. Why would he go up if he knew that he would lose? As for the Red Waterman, he would just let him try his luck. The Red Waterman did not know that Duan Lingyun had lost to Yi Chen, and that even the Ghost Moon Spirit Warrior could not do anything to Yi Chen. Wang Kai from the Wavy Cloud region is here to challenge you. The Red Waterman in red robes flew out. He was not provoked by Duan Lingyun, but by his own will. Although Yi Chen would be hard to deal with, he still had some confidence. Once he beat Yi Chen, his next target would be Ling Hanye from the Misty Snow region. As soon as the Red Waterman appeared, the whole Mountain River stage was shocked for the first time. Although there were a couple of powerful warriors, they were obviously not comparable to the Red Waterman. As the number 1 warrior of the young generation in the Wavy Cloud region, he was naturally quite famous. He could be ranked in the top 15 or even the top 10 in the whole South region. He was a top warrior of the 2nd level, so it would not be wrong to put him in the 1st level. Therefore, the Red Waterman was definitely one of the top warriors among all the warriors present. He was not someone that people like Wang Lin and Wu Feihan could compete with. I did not expect the Red Waterman to fight against Yi Chen. The Red Waterman is the most powerful warrior in the Wavy Cloud region, so he should be on the stage in the final battle. It is indeed a bit early for him to come out now. This Yi Chen is not bad. If it were not for the Red Waterman, he might have been able to win a couple more battles. What a shame. Although Yi Chen is very likely to lose, the South Rudra region being able to make it this far is already a great achievement. Almost no one thought highly of Yi Chen. The Wavy Cloud region was a big region after all, and the Red Waterman was the top warrior among the young generation. How could he be weaker than Yi Chen? Did the South Rudra region really want to rise to the top? Above the Wavy Cloud region. Chapter 454. The head disciple of the Drifting Snow Martial School, Ling Hanye, looked interested. With Wang Kai here, perhaps we can see something? The battle was not over yet, so he would not say who would win or lose for sure. Wang Kai was powerful, and was not weaker than him. Yi Chen was also hiding his power, and would not be easy to deal with. Therefore, in his opinion, this battle would be 50-50, unlike what most people thought, where Yi Chen would lose for sure. Sister Feng, who do you think will win? Qingzhu asked Feng Yenro. Feng Yenro said with a low voice, I think it will be Yi Chen. Oh. Qingzhu was not surprised at all. Regardless of whether she admitted it or not, expression did not change at all. Very powerful. He had expected the 100 wins in a row in the Blue Mountain Island. If not, was the proof. Then he had overestimated himself. Who was surprised increasing by his Zheng Yuan to another level. He already thought highly of Yi Chen, and his whole body shot up into the sky, even more highly throwing out a punch towards Yi Chen. Your power is not bad. There was nothing fancy about this punch. You will not be my opponent. More brutal. Wang Kai had already formed the shape of his martial spirit 2 years ago. And right now, had even appeared in the critical point, which was caused by the power of the punch. He was only one step away from the real facing this powerful punch. Besides Yi Chen shook his wrist and stabbed out with his green sword. Had also reached the peak of the 13th realm, light accumulated on the tip of the sword, eventually turning into a green lotus and shooting out. Profound sense martial art. A subtle clashing sound was 40% completion. Wang Kai's fist power and the green lotus that had been formed by the sword light had been destroyed together. His opponents would be Ling and Sword Chi were like fountains. Shooting out only in all directions would be able to make him use all of his power. Could kill a lot of normal astral reaching would only be a bit more troublesome. His corner of Yi Chen's gliding backward suddenly turned around soon. Wang Kai had not only taken out that aggressive radiation power or not, but had also guided that power into a huge swirl. Wang Kai's eyes with the centrifugal power as he crossed his arms, he opened his hands and dove down from martial art of the Red Water Martial School, the Red Water God fist as he punched out. In Wang Kai's hand, elemental energy in the sky and was a couple of times more powerful than the Red Water God fist art that the water elemental energy started to spin crazily, forming like a tsunami that was constantly than the last. This flat lotus mountain was so condensed and sharp that it even made a sharp whistling sound as it tore through the air. He tapped his foot on the ground and leapt out red like a bolt of lightning. He raised his greenwood sword high above his head and swung it down vertically. The sword light, which was engraved with a towering green lotus, was even more powerful, tore apart the sky and slashed out with a mountain-splitting and the separating shadow-flying art with shaking explosion was heard. Since that swirl contained a very powerful had been shattered by the sword light, if it was not powerful enough to break had also been shattered by the explosion. For him to use his speed to get out of the attacking range. Yi Chen had the upper hand. Therefore, he would have to find the best angle to break through the swirl. You deserve me to be a little more serious. Performing his sword steps, Yi Chen used his body as a sword, stabbing out to the right side of the swirl. At the same time, the greenwood sword in his hand had been replaced by the thunder sword. He held the sword tightly with both of his hands, holding it horizontally in front of his chest as he sliced through the swirl. Crack! All of these movements had been completed within a second. Once the sword tip sliced through, the sword light with electric light exploded from the inside of the swirl. What? You broke the swirl? Wang Kai's pupils shrank. Take one sword attack from me. After breaking the swirl with one sword attack, Yi Chen did not change his direction at all. He threw out countless sword lights towards Wang Kai while his whole body approached him. Piss off. Wang Kai threw out both of his fists continuously. His fist aura had reached its peak within a second, giving people a feeling like a dam that was filled with water had suddenly been broken, and a huge wave had poured out. Chin 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 chin, the fist tip and the sword tip continued to clash together, bringing up bright sparks. The burning chi waves had even shaved off the surface of the platform layer after layer, shooting out in all directions. Hit! The thunder sword curved into a shocking arc as Yi Chen suddenly bounced out. His left pinky finger and index finger shot out 2 beams of sword chi, shooting out with a hissing sound. Not good. Wang Kai had not expected Yi Chen's fingers to be able to shoot out sword chi as well, so he only had enough time to throw out a punch to shatter the first beam of sword chi. The second beam of sword chi had pierced through his protective Zheng Yuan, bringing out a large amount of blood. What? The Red Water Man was wounded. He was wounded by one sword chi attack from Yi Chen, shooting out sword chi from his hand. How unexpected. Have you guys noticed that from the beginning to the end, Yi Chen has always had the upper hand? No matter how much he increases his power, he cannot turn the situation around. Doesn't this mean that the Red Water Man is not Yi Chen's opponent at all? Most of the people had their mouths wide open, not knowing what to say. In the square formation of the Thunder region, the young master of beasts, Mo Xiong, rubbed his chin and laughed. I guess what I said outside the city must have been taken as a joke by them. The Thunder Princess glanced at him. What joke? Nothing. I just made a big mistake. I thought he was just a normal warrior. Mo Xiong thought that he was more powerful than the Redwater man, and since Yi Chen was able to beat him with a slight advantage, even if he was not as powerful as him, it would not be that much weaker. It is just a small mistake. It is impossible for people to not make mistakes. But, as long as the mistake is still within one's tolerance, why should one care? The speaker was an evil-looking young man wearing a long robe with a gold crown on his head. His eyes were long and narrow, and he had a cynical look on his face. Mo Xiong chuckled and said, "It seems like the young leader is very confident." The young leader he was talking about was the young leader of the Shining Martial School, which was a rank 5 martial institution in the Thunder region. The current leader was his great-grandfather, the Shining King. As the descendant of the Life and Death Realm warrior, Yin Zhongli was very talented, and his comprehensive ability was not low either. In fact, at the level of the southern region, the King bloodline was not that rare. The key was still whether or not one could fully activate it. Same here. Yin Zhongli said with a lazy face. The martial tea gathering was in the spirit of competition, so the Thunder Princess was just about to announce the result when Wang Kai yelled, "Princess Jing, we are not done yet." The Thunder Princess said, "Wang Kai, winning and losing are normal things for warriors. You do not need to worry about it." Wang Kai tried to explain, "It was just a moment of carelessness on my part. If I lose, then it would be unfair. Don't worry, I will only need one attack. One attack, and I will beat him." "All right then." The Thunder Princess nodded. Looking back at Yi Chen, Wang Kai's pupils started to turn red. "Very well. I did not expect that I would be wounded by you because of carelessness. But, if you think that you have beaten me for sure, then you are very wrong. The next attack, I want you to accept your defeat." Yi Chen did not seem to care. "I will." Yi Chen's attitude had pissed Wang Kai off. He did not say another word as his aura rushed out like a flood. It was getting stronger and stronger. The auras clashed with each other, bringing up a cracking sound. Waves of invisible holes started to spread out. Water Beast Fist Wave. Wang Kai's ace attack was naturally the low-rank profound sense martial art of the Redwater Martial School, Water Beast Fist Wave. Different from Huang Kai Shan, Wang Kai had already trained this profound sense martial art to 40%, which meant that its power was way more powerful than the fierce water swirl. Pushing his Jin Yuan to its limit, Wang Kai threw out 18 punches towards Yi Chen. Each punch was like a whirlpool. 18 whirlpools spread out in the air, blocking Yi Chen's escape route. The whirlpools merged together, leaving behind 6 huge whirlpools that were the size of a stone mill. They formed a 6-point star, attacking towards where Yi Chen was standing. At that moment, it seemed like time had stopped. Water Beast Fist Wave has increased my battling power by 3 times. It has combined defense, attack, and locking all at the same time. Let me see how you are going to block it out. After battling for a while, Wang Kai was very clear about Yi Chen's power. Therefore, he was sure that Yi Chen would not be able to block it out. Even if it were him, he would not be able to block it out either. Once he performed his Water Beast Fist Wave, it would be a piece of cake for him to beat someone stronger than him. Plus, Yi Chen's power was only at the same level as his. Facing this horrifying fist attack, Yi Chen's expression did not change at all. "You think that was all I had before? I have never liked to use my absolute power to beat my opponents. For me, it is more fun to beat my opponents with techniques." His sword intent shot up into the sky. The space around Yi Chen started to twist a little, making it impossible to see his body clearly. All that could be seen was the twisted space suddenly disappearing. It was a slanted sword attack without any fancy sword attack, but the sword intent contained in it was enough to shock everyone. This extremely powerful sword intent had reached beyond the limits of an astral-reaching realm warrior, reaching the Sea of Souls realm. With the help of that horrifying sword intent, this sword attack of Yi Chen's was unbelievably fast and heavy. With one sword attack, the poetic perspective of the Water Beast Fist Wave had been broken. Boom! The thick electric arc shot out in all directions, shattering Wang Kai's fist power completely. He himself even puked out a little bit of blood. Chapter 455. I did not sense it wrong, did I? This is the sword spirit level sword intent. Indeed. This is indeed the sword spirit level sword intent. Perhaps he has formed a real sword spirit. I remember that it is much harder for a sword artist to form a sword spirit than a warrior to form a martial spirit. Although some of them have reached the Sea of Souls realm, they still might not be able to form a sword spirit. The attacking power of the sword intent is already more powerful than the martial intent. Right now, there is even a gap of 1 level between them. Wang Kai's clothes were torn, his lips were stained with tornado, and his hair was messed up by the different regions started to discuss crazily. Like the little master Red Thunder region, Mo Xiong looked at the Thunder Princess with surprise and asked, spat out another mouthful of blood. Spirit? He was so angry that he became muddle-headed. Too much. Previously, in the whole southern region, confidently said that like only the Edict Prince had formed a martial spirit, leaving no room for him to turn even the Thunder Princess. Not only did he fail to achieve his goal, not done it yet, but he was also instantly killed by her head. Although the dramatic ending gave him a hard slap in the face, making him dizzy and wishing that he could never wake up in this life. How is this possible? If I have guessed it right, how could I have learned the elemental sword intent earlier, which is a couple of times more powerful than the normal young warrior in the wavy cloud region? It should be comparable to the sword spirit level sword intent. After puking out a mouthful of blood, Mo Xiong and Yin Zhong had exchanged a look. Their expressions becoming more and more serious. Was it really that embarrassing to be beaten by himself? Come here could be divided into the 3 levels. Besides the top 3 dragon level martial geniuses, was already in the third level. Did not make him feel advantage in terms of sword spirit. Of course, was something most that no one probably did not think that they would have the power to challenge a true dragon level warrior. And Yin Zhong were not the only ones who were shocked. Get down now. The 2 young men in black robes reminded Wang Kai so that he would not continue to lose face. As one of the evil King Pavilion's 7 knights, the face of the wavy cloud region. Wang Kai lifted up his head. They could tell that Yi Chen had not formed a sword spirit yet. In the Gold Sand region formation, the reason why this sword intent was so powerful was because of its intense killing element. You have lost the battle. No wonder you value him so much. He
The
is indeed
purple-haired
not a
beauty
normal
right
sword
next to the
artist.
astral spirit.
The
Sun
seventh
laughed.
knight let out
Things
a
have been a
breath
little
slowly
different
and
from
said
what
to
you had
Sikong
expected.
Shang, "It is
Sikong
normal
Shang
for you
knocked
to
on the
lose your
table with his
soul,
fingers and
but
said,
this
"A couple
Yi
of
Chen
years
is
ago,
not simple.
I knew that it would
He has
not be
beaten
that
the
easy
wavy
to beat
cloud
him,
region with
but
his own
the
power
power
and
he has
brought
shown
the
so
South Rudra
far is
region
not
to the
enough to
second
surprise
level.
me.
Even
I
if
hope
someone
that he
from
has
the
more
South
powerful
Rudra
ace
region
attacks.
manages to surpass him in
Otherwise,
the future,
it would be too
no
boring.
one would forget his
Hey,
contribution.
you are such a
Wang
crazy
Kai,
man. Why
the
are you
seventh
so
knight and the
fixated
sixth
on what
knight
is right
forced
in
a
front of
smile.
you? On
Right
the field,
then,
the
Yi
edict
Chen and
Prince
Wang
spoke.
Kai were completely
His voice
different.
seemed to contain
Yi
a kind
Chen
of
still
power
looked
that could make
handsome
one's
and
heart
elegant.
clear.
As
Holding
soon
his
as it
long
reached
sword,
everyone's
he
ears,
looked clean
they all
and
became
spotless.
serious and
Wang
cleared their
Kai
thoughts.
was in a much more
When it
difficult
reached
situation.
Wang Kai's ears, his messy eyes started to focus again, and he regained his spirit. With a blush on his face, Wang Kai knew that the Edict Prince had helped him out and saved him from losing face. He held his fists together and said, "Thank you." The Edict Prince sighed. Winning and losing are normal things for warriors. If you want to never lose in your life, you have to have an unyielding spirit. You have lost for real this time. Get down now. Yes. Wang Kai had a bitter look on his face. As he brushed past Yi Chen, he said with a light voice, "This time, you have won. Next time, I will not lose." Beating him was Yi
already
Chen
enough,
did not say
so there was
anything.
no need to break his confidence. Head disciple has lost as well. Huang Kaishan's expression was even more bitter than Wang Kai's. In the Blue Mountain Island Challenge tournament, he had suffered a crushing defeat to Yi Chen without even the slightest chance to fight back. He originally thought that his head disciple would beat Yi Chen in this tea gathering and let him see Yi Chen's face of defeat. However, the heavens seemed to be against him. Even his head disciple, who was so powerful in his heart, had been defeated, and it was a clean defeat without any trace of force. Better not mess with him. We can't afford to mess with him. Huang Kaishan made up his mind to not mess with Yi Chen anymore. In fact, he did not dare to mess with Yi Chen. Otherwise, how could he expect Wang Kai to beat Yi Chen? Sister Feng is right. It seems like head disciple's insight is not as good as Sister Feng's. Qingzhu teased Ling Hanye, who was in front of her. Ling Hanye forced a laugh. I was wrong. Since even Wang Kai was not his opponent, then I would not be his opponent either. He is almost at the third level. There were not many warriors at the third level. There were 3 to 4 warriors in the Thunder region, 2 to 3 in the Floating Light region, and 2 to 3 in the Gold Sand region. All the other regions had 1 each, or none at all, plus Yi Chen. As for the rest of the hidden warriors, they had not been exposed yet. The climax of the tea gathering was still far from starting. Yi Chen has won. Our South Rudra region status has surpassed the Wavy Cloud region. Mu Lingfeng was very excited, even more excited than when he had beaten Wang Kai to Orbuku chuckled, "Just watch. The next tea gathering will depend on you guys. Yes, I will work even harder." Before he came, Mu Lingfeng was more or less proud, thinking that he was not weaker than anyone. The only pity was that he did not have the chance to fight with Yi Chen and the rest of the warriors in the Hidden Dragon rank competitions. Right now, he finally knew that if he wanted to reach the level of Yang Qihua and Li Daoxian, he would have to train with all his might. Which one of the martial geniuses here was not talented enough? However, if he wanted to reach the level of Yi Chen, it would not be something that could be done in a day. In the pavilion next to them, Li Daoxian said, "He is still ahead of us. It seems like if we want to catch up to him, we will have to spend our whole lives." Yang Qihua said with determination, "Even if we have to, we will have to catch up to him. If Yi Chen wants to catch up, then someone else will have to catch up as well. Don't forget, he is the only one in the whole South Rudra region who can compete with Yi Chen." Li Daoxian looked at Sikong Sheng, who was wearing black robes. He was even more mysterious than before, and it was all because of Yi Chen. Thinking about how even Sikong Sheng had been pushed to this extent by Yi Chen, Li Daoxian could not help but admire him. Yang Qihua also glanced at Sikong Sheng and said, "Catching up to someone is always better than having no one to catch up to. Especially seeing the martial geniuses out there." Li Daoxian nodded, "Indeed. Catching up to them will make us improve even faster. I also believe that since we can catch up to them, we will be able to catch up to the whole world as well." Li Daoxian asked himself if it were not for Yi Chen,
he would not be as powerful as he was right now. Only with pressure would there be motivation. After beating Wang Kai, Yi Chen had already won 3 times in a row. His reputation was catching up to the Beast Prince, Mo Xiong, and the others. Still not going down? He is not planning to challenge all the way, is he? Arrogant. Although the Red Water Man is powerful, there are still people who are more powerful than him. Especially the Thunder region, the Floating Light region, and the Gold Sand region, the top 5 regions. Which one of them is not more powerful than the Red Water Man? It seems like the 3 wins have made him a bit dizzy. It is not that easy to become famous in one go. Hey, just you wait. Someone will go up and beat him until he wakes up. I wonder who else besides the Thunder Princess and the Astral Spirit Son will go up to challenge him. Seeing that Yi Chen did not plan to go down, a lot of people got angry. They thought that Yi Chen was too arrogant and did not care about anyone else. Yi Chen did not know what they were thinking, and even if he did, he would not care. The reason why he stayed was not to challenge the top 3 true dragon-level warriors, because the martial tea gathering was not a challenge. If you wanted to challenge someone, you would have to see if they were interested or not. The reason why he stayed was to bring the South Rudra region to the top of the 2nd level. After doing all that, he would not care about the battles at this level anymore, and the others would not dare to look down on the South Rudra region either. Just beating one Wang Kai? I, the Black Sword Artist, would like to challenge you. A teenager in black robes with a black sword on his back flew out. Besides that sharp sword aura, there was also that evil chi that seemed to want to devour people. It was an evil chi that only people who had killed thousands of people would have. The evil chi combined with the sword aura, and with just a thought, it could almost make people hallucinate. It was indeed the #1 warrior of the Black Gold region, the Black Sword Artist, also known as the leader of the Black Gold region's top 4. It had been rumored that his power was at the same level as Wang Kailin and Hanye. You use a sword, and I also use a sword. Let's see whose sword technique is more lethal. The Black Sword Artist was very confident in his sword art. His sword art was different from the others, as it only aimed for killing. He believed that killing was the ultimate goal of his sword art. Woo! As he finished talking, the Black Sword Artist took out the huge black sword on his back and waved out a heavy sword attack. Crack! The platform was shattered, and the black sword light carried a sharp killing chi as it shot out. Wherever it went, it brought up a storm. What? The Black Sword Artist has also learned the Slaughter Sword Intent. Slaughter Sword Intent versus Slaughter Sword Intent. No wonder the Black Sword Artist is so confident. Before learning the Slaughter Sword Intent, the Black Sword Artist's power was at the same level as Wang Kai, but after learning it, Wang Kai would not be able to compete with the Black Sword Artist without a doubt. Everyone thought that the Black Gold region would be weaker than the Wavy Cloud region and the Misty Snow region. But once the Black Sword Artist showed up, he had told everyone that under his leadership, the Black Gold region would not be something that the other 2 regions could compete with. Flashing his body to avoid the sword light, Yi Chen was a bit surprised. It was his first time facing someone else's sword intent, and he could tell that the Black Sword Artist was way more powerful than Wang Kai. Chapter 456. Rumble. Rumble. Another 2 black sword lights shot out. These black sword lights were extremely violent, creating black tornadoes as they attacked towards Yi Chen from both sides. His clothes and long black hair danced in the air as Yi Chen held the thunder sword and slashed horizontally. Crack. With the 2 of them as the center, the space began to distort, and the airflow was sucked in, unable to escape. The sword light that had created the black tornado suddenly shattered, causing the surrounding platform to be full of holes, and not a single spot was left unscathed. The slaughter sword intent is too frightening. This tea gathering is indeed full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There are actually 2 sword geniuses who have comprehended the slaughter sword intent. Together with Gold Sand Region's life-taker Lang Zhuo, the 3 of them are the top 3 sword artists of this tea gathering. Yeah, life-taker Lang Zhuo is indeed not to be underestimated. 1 year ago, he had defeated Gold Sand Region's former number 2, Wan Zhuoming. His strength is just below Astral Spirit Sun. I wonder who will have the last laugh among the top 3 sword artists. Everyone discussed spiritedly, Black sword
and they were
artist
rather
had
underestimated the green
raising
lotus
his black
sword
sword
in the
Black
end.
sword artist
Although
looked
his
at Yi
finger
Chen
art
from
was
afar
not weak,
and said
it
indifferently,
was still no match
I am
for
not
the green
like other
lotus
sword
sword
artists.
chi that Yi Chen
Once
had
my
hidden
sword
inside
leaves
his body.
its sheath,
The
I
black
want to
finger
see
power
blood.
paused for a
Otherwise,
second before
my
shattering
mind will not
immediately,
be smooth.
releasing 2
You better be
circular
prepared
shockwaves.
for serious
The
injuries,
shockwaves
or
spread
else
out
you will
very
blame me
fast,
for not
but
reminding
still
you.
could not catch up
Yi
to the
Chen
speed of the
smiled
green
slightly.
lotus sword chi.
This blood might
Ding,
not be
ding.
mine. Left
It
with
might
no
be
choice.
yours. The black
Yi
sword
Chen's
swordsman
voice was not
raised his
loud,
black greatsword,
and his expression was
2
not cold or
sparks
serious,
exploded in the
but
air
everyone
in front
could
of his
clearly feel a
chest.
strong will coming
What kind
from
of
him.
sword chi is
Although
this?
his attitude is
It is
arrogant,
not weaker than
I
the
have to
sword
admit
chi
that
from
this
a great
person
sword
is not
at all.
simple.
It might
Facing
even be a
black
bit
sword
stronger.
artist who has
Black
comprehended
sword
the slaughter
artist
sword
originally
intent,
thought that
he
Yi
dares
Chen
to
had
speak like
cultivated
this.
some kind of
I
finger
wonder
art,
if it is his
causing the
nature,
finger
or
energy
if he
to
is
be
confident
similar to sword chi.
What kind
but
of
not as
confidence
powerful
does
as
he
sword
need to
chi.
have to dare to
But
say
now,
such words?
he realized that he
Without
was wrong.
a doubt,
The
Yi
might of
Chen's
these 2
words had
strands of
enraged
sword
black
chi
sword
far
artist.
surpassed
He
ordinary
said
sword
coldly,
chi, whose
the
blood
black
it
sword
is,
artist
we will
was
know
surprised,
soon.
but
Wolf
so was Yi
killing.
Chen.
Black
He
sword
knew the
artist's
power
right
of the
foot
green
moved
lotus
half a
sword
step
chi
as he
better than
slashed
anyone
down
else.
with his black sword.
Under normal
The brutal
circumstances,
black sword
the
light
sword
was like
chi
a hot
that he
knife
used
cutting
with his
through
mid-rank
butter,
greatsword
carrying
would
the
not
howling
even be
of a
as
wolf
powerful
as the
slashed
green
towards
lotus
Yi
sword
Chen.
chi.
Break.
Only the sword
Flying
chi
into
from
the
his
air,
ace attacks
Yi
would
Chen
be able to
shattered the
suppress
black
the
sword
green
light
lotus
with one
sword
sword
chi.
attack.
However,
His left
opponent
hand
was
reached
able
out
to
from
use
the
his
side
finger
of his
power to
waist.
reduce the
2
sword chi's
beams
power
of
by
green
half,
lotus sword
which
chi
meant
shot
that it
out
must
with
be
a
a
swishing
top-rank
sound.
Earth Realm finger art.
This move is
Only a
useless against
top-rank
me.
Earth Realm finger
Black
art
sword
could do
artist
this.
reached out
I
his
have
left
already
hand
used
and
up
up
4 beams
his
of my
index
green
finger
lotus
and
sword
middle
chi.
finger clasped
I will
onto
not
his
use
thumb,
them again
shooting
if I
out
can.
2 black
The
finger
green
energies.
lotus sword chi
The
was
finger
his ace
energies
in
were
close
like
combat,
blades.
blocking
Yi
the
Chen
green
did
lotus
not want
sword
others
chi
to
in
know
the
his
air.
bottom line.
Puff. Seizing the chance when the black sword artist had shattered the green lotus sword chi, Yi Chen's body suddenly dropped down. The 1,000-meter-long sword light was like a heavenly sword as it slashed down. Break for me. If it were a normal sword artist, they would definitely focus on defense and focus on defending against Yi Chen's heavy attack. However, in the dictionary of the black sword artist, there was no concept of defense. He opened his mouth and roared. His black hair stood up while his inky black chi shot up into the sky, accompanying the huge black sword in his hand to meet the incoming sword light. Boom! The 2 swords clashed, and a dark blue energy ball appeared out of nowhere. At first, it was only the size of a pinky finger, but after half a blink of an eye, it had expanded to 1 meter. Not good. Everyone, block out the energy wave. The Thunder Princess frowned. Her voice was pushed by her Zhenyuan, spreading out at a supersonic speed. At the same time, she waved her slender palm, and a crystal-clear Zhenyuan wall flickering with thunder and lightning rose up, blocking the entire pavilion behind it. It then spread out to both sides, connecting with the Zhenyuan walls created by the others. Waiting until all the Zhenyuan walls were connected into a circle, sealing off the entire mountain pointer stage, the dark blue energy ball exploded. Because the sound of the explosion was too loud, no one could hear it. They could only see a dazzling light in front of them as the Zhenyuan walls were weakened bit by bit. Then, the energy wave that had nowhere to vent shot up into the sky, turning into a 2-li-thick energy light beam that shot up into the sky, tearing apart the stunning sky barrier. Looking from the outside of the Thunder Capital,
The energy beam that seemed to connect the sky and the earth was extremely eye-catching. Everyone in the Thunder capital secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. They had no idea how popular the biennial martial tea gathering was. Such a frightening momentum was clearly not something an ordinary person could create. Rumble. The energy light beam dissipated, and only then did a loud boom spread out in all directions. However, there was no one on the stage. Yi Chen and the black sword artist had both disappeared. Yi Chen, it's time for you to take my sword. Up in the sky, the black sword artist's figure appeared. Both of his hands were gripping the huge black sword, raising it high above his shoulders. Then, he exerted his strength through his spine, transferring it to the muscles of his arms before finally pouring it into his palms in an explosive manner. Swoosh! A black waning moon suddenly appeared, and an extremely frightening black sword wave radiated out in a 180-degree fan shape. Its speed had already surpassed most people's senses. Facing this frightening sword, Yi Chen pulled out the thunder sword with his left hand. Without adjusting his grip, he directly slashed out. Yin. The sword light without thunder lit up the sky of the Thunder capital once again, slashing out with an increasingly domineering manner. Wherever it went, the air was shattered by the power of nothingness, leaving a shocking black sword mark. Sky Thunder Cut. The Sky Thunder Cut performed with his current power was far more powerful than when he had fought against the Red Water Miner spiritual master. It might have been a casual attack, or he might have been holding the sword in his left hand or holding the longsword in a reverse grip. After waving out this sword, Yi Chen seemed to have understood something. The Sky Thunder Cut could cut through anything, including the sword wave formed from sword chi. The sound of silk being cut was heard. Not only did the black sword artist's killing move have no effect, he even suffered a bit of a backlash. Of course, with his power, this bit of backlash was nothing to him. However, Yi Chen's power made him vigilant. This battle is going to be dangerous. I originally thought that the black sword artist, who had comprehended the slaughter sword intent, could slightly suppress Yi Chen. Even if he couldn't suppress him, he should at least be on par with him. But now, no matter how I look at it, it seems like the battle between Yi Chen and the Red Water Miner spiritual master is the same. Could it be that even the black sword artist is not a match for Yi Chen? The battle is not over yet. It's too early to say that. Who knows, the black sword artist might have a counterattack. After dozens of attacks, the two had fought from the sky to the ground. Sword chi that was enough to tear apart mountains were attacking each other in the sky of Thunder City. Black Dragon Wave. The black sword artist's strongest sword attack was naturally a profound sense martial art. However, due to various reasons, he did not have a deep understanding of the Black Dragon Wave, which was around 30% completion, which was still not as powerful as the Red Water Miner spiritual master Wang Kai. Therefore, this Black Dragon Wave was only as powerful as the last movement of his sword art. However, a profound sense martial art was still a profound sense martial art. Even if its power was not enough, its subtlety was still not something a normal sword art could compete with. The black sword was covered in a black mist. When the black sword artist stabbed out, the sword light was like a swimming dragon, without any fixed pattern or pattern. Even if it was someone with the same power as the black sword artist, it would be hard to avoid this sword attack. Their bodies would be pierced through and shattered. What a horrifying sword attack. I can't even see its trajectory. Dragons are legendary creatures. I heard that when a dragon flies in the sky, it would be impossible to see or touch it, as if it existed in another space. As a profound sense martial art, the Black Dragon Wave would naturally not be like a normal martial art, where the word dragon would be used to increase its aggressiveness. It must have been added after careful consideration. Even if this Black Dragon Wave is not related to the Black Dragon, it must be related to the Flood Dragon. Yi Chen is going to lose. Losing to this sword attack is not shameful at all. Everyone on the stage did not think that Yi Chen would win. Even if Yi Chen had had the upper hand since the beginning, and it had been going on until now, the battle between sword artists would be decided in just a second. So what if he had the upper hand? So what if the scene looked good? One sword attack would be able to wipe out all of his previous efforts. It was cruel, but also realistic. Right then, even Tuor Buku, Li Daoxian, and the others were worried for Yi Chen. Mu Lingfeng was even more unable to control his emotions, his palms squeezing the armrest of his chair until it exploded. Facing this untraceable sword attack, a faint smile appeared on the corner of Yi Chen's mouth. He flipped the greenwood sword and put it behind his back. His left hand instantly grabbed the thunder sword's hilt at his waist, pulled it out, and sliced upwards. The sword light twisted back, wrapping around his opponent's strange sword light. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. It was the same sword attack from before. In just a short period of time, Yi Chen had already perfected it to a certain extent. What? The black sword artist's expression had just appeared on his face when he felt a sharp pain in his chest. The blood that had splashed out dyed his eyes red, making him feel hot and numb. Time seemed to have stopped. Without knowing why, the black sword artist recalled what Yi Chen had said before the battle. This blood might not be mine, but yours. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,